I'm Dave Pash. Now let's send you to Marty Reed in Memphis.
Well, we want to welcome everyone who has just joined us on ESPN2 as we get ready for race number 32 of 35 in the NASCAR Busch Series campaign. For all of you that were with us on ESPN Classic for Countdown, thank you for sticking with us. We had a good time. Hope you did too. Now, let's talk about our key stories coming up for this race. Let's first bring in the biggest fan of the Boston Red Sox, Alan Beswick. Look at the smile on his face.
Yeah, you can get me going on that, Marty. Hey, today a championship can be won by Carl Edwards. He can clinch the title today if he ends the day with a 585-point lead over David Ruderman. He's got more than that starting the race. He can lose 53 points today and still clinch the title. But Carl starts in the back. He's been swept up in crashes in the last 2 straight races. They're not taking anything for granted quite just yet. Let's go to Vince Welch.
Well, and Alan, as many that will be keeping an eye on Carl Edwards will also be shifting their focus from time to time to the 42 of Dario Franchitti. He makes his Busch Series debut today. He's the 2007 Indianapolis 500 winner and the IndyCar Series champion, and this is his first time at Memphis. He says that racing a stock car here is like going to Richmond with an Indy car on steroids. That alone should make it fun to watch today. Shannon?
Well, Vince, we showed you in the pre-race show how several drivers had the opportunity to go to St. Jude's Hospital, which is located just a few miles from this track. Well, several of the drivers have had it carry over into today's race, 16 in all, in fact. They've had their cars designed by St. Jude patients. It's called Design a Dream. Now, one driver, Richard Johns, driver of the number 25 car, he had his helmet designed as well. The designer of that helmet is Carlos Rodriguez. He is here today. He is in the pit stall. Following the race, the Busch drivers will sign that helmet and they will auction it off. The proceeds will go to St. Jude's. Alan?
All right, that's fine, Shannon. Thanks. It is a very great program. It's going to be fun watching those cars going around the track designed by those 16 children. Joining me in the booth, Rusty Wallace, Randy LaJoie. We'll talk more with them, but right now it is time to go trackside for the command to start engines.
Ladies and gentlemen, the children of St. Jude's Research Hospital here in Memphis, Tennessee, and our good friend, screenwriter and director Craig Burr, whose award-winning credits include Hustle and Flow and Charlie Pride, with those most famous words in motorsports.
What's up, racing fans? Welcome to the Memphis Motorsports Park and the Samstown 250 and the 800th race of the NASCAR Busch Series. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Just get him to 10 away and then I'll get him. Just like we used to, Lauren. We'll be right back in the groove, bud.
Okay. I hope the results are the same.
Yep. Got you. Me and you both. That'd be a lot of fun.
How about you, crew chief? 10 points. All right.
So the engines have fired. Let's bring in Rusty and Randy. And actually, Randy's got something on Rusty. You've not only run at this racetrack, you've won here.
Well, I had a gift here. I did win. I had myself a position. I was running third. The leaders got together, you know, and then I ended up winning the race. I gave a lot of them away in the last lap, but this one I got back.
Well, that was back in 2001. But you have been here. You've tested, so you know what it's like to go around this tight little 3/4 mile.
You know, you bet. This is a rough and tumble racetrack. A lot of beating and banging are going to go on today. These guys are going to tear some fenders off, and you know what? I'm ready for it.
This started a countdown. I feel like I should have hockey pads on the way these two have been going after each other, but that's what they're expecting to see on the track. We had 16 cautions in this race last year, which was an all-time record high for this race, so I guess what they're doing is pretty endemic of what we're about to see out on this 3/4 mile. That is unlike any other track. Let's talk a little bit about why bring a rookie to this racetrack. We had 20 show up to try and qualify for the 43 starting spots.
Well, Marty, this is a short racetrack, and a lot of these rookies are used to short track style racing, so why not bring them here? The race is about to run, the year's about ready to wind down. These guys want to get some experience, and above all, the NASCAR Next Cup regular guys aren't here, just a handful of them. Good place to come for that.
Well, you know what? This is a racetrack that's fun. Like I said, these guys are all grew up on the short tracks. It's so much easier to come here than it is to go to a Charlotte, where you run 190 miles an hour. So, you know, this year you're running 125. It happens in a hurry. These guys are talented. They're going to grab 2 handfuls of steering wheels, and they'll be fine.
All right, does Carl clinch the championship today, and what's going through his stomach? And
Marty, I really think he can clinch this championship. You know, he's probably, his stomach's all wound up. This is his first chance to win a championship. He's been talking about, he's been been thinking about it, and I believe he can get it done. He's just got to stay out of trouble getting from the back to the front, though.
Yeah, remember, he did not make qualifying, so he starts at the rear of the field, and he'll have to work his way up. But, Randy, he did the same thing last year.
He did. I think that we could bank on a lot of young guys learning from the guys in the back by just watching how they do it and stay up. I mean, Chase has a very good race car. He could tail on one of these guys and learn a lot today.
The Chase he's mentioning is 18-year-old Chase Austin. If you weren't with us on our countdown program on Classic, we talked a lot about this second African-American ever to race here in the Busch Series, first on an oval. He's running in one of your cars, Rusty, and you think it would be a really good idea, and I agree with you, for him to just tag along with Carl and try and work his way up.
Well, I think they'd be very smart to tag along with Carl and try to learn a lot of stuff, and I'm really proud of both these guys. Steven was fastest in practice yesterday. Chase Austin was fastest in a rookie practice. Now they need to keep the fenders on and learn a lot today, and they can all learn a lot from Carl Edwards, because this guy is really good here.
Okay, one thing we know for sure, fuel's not really the issue here. They can go 120, 130 laps. You guys think it's going to be more about tires, especially?
Well, what you see here, the 10th lap on your tires is the fastest. So you're going to have to watch out when these guys go to green. It takes 10 laps to get some heat in these tires and go. Otherwise, these things are very wormy.
You see the starting field across the top of our screen. We're waiting for the pace car to lead them out onto the track, as there'll be 3 pace laps. And there is our in-race reporter. It is Carl Edwards. Let's see if we can talk to him. Rusty?
Carl Edwards, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us?
I got you, Rusty.
All right, buddy, this is going to be a big day for you. You got an opportunity to lock up your first championship. Man, what's going through your mind right now?
Oh man, Rusty, just excited to be here. Excited for the whole Scott's, Ford crew, and hopefully just going to have a good time today and get us a win. You know, I've wanted to win a race here for a long time, and to have the opportunity to do that and win a championship is awesome.
You had another driver practice your car today, really working hard to get it handling good. Are you pretty confident Matt's got your car where you want it?
Yeah, Matt McCall did a great job for us, and yeah, I think it's going to be good. They tell me it's good. So it's the car we ran really well at Richmond with, and hopefully we'll run that well here at Memphis.
All right, buddy, we got a great day for racing. It's good, clear weather here. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.
All right, Rusty, thanks a lot. Somebody told me you flew your own jet here. Is that true?
Well, I hope I can fly that thing. I've been flying it for 10 years now. I hope I got it figured out by now.
All right, cool. Hope you have a good time. There's some nervous people that are flying back with you. They've already told me.
Hey, come on, man. Give me a break. It's just Alan Bestwick and about 4 or 5 others.
All right, have a good one, Rusty. Thanks, man.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
He doesn't sound too nervous. Let's see if Pierre Cotell, who's also looking for his first championship, he's a little nervous. Randy?
PK, Randy LaJoie in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do, Randy. How you doing?
Doing great. Now, confidence-wise, you guys did it last year. You come all the way up to lead this thing, up into that green-white checkered. Same setup, everything pretty good?
At 10-4, just about the same setup we had here last year, so we're looking for the same type of result.
Okay, get yourself good stops. You have any trick pit stops you can do here?
Well, we're just going to see how it lays out here. If we run around the back for a little while, we might try some trick, but for the most part, we got a lot of set of tires. We're going to make some adjustments, and we're going to get them up front.
Okay, good luck today, PK.
Man.
All right, so the cars begin to roll off here at Memphis Motorsports Park, and as we said, it'll be 3 pace laps. Third time by will be going green here in race number 32 on the 2007 NASCAR Busch Series campaign. We talked about the fact that we have got a lot of young, inexperienced drivers here. Let's get some last-minute update reports from pit lane. Let's first bring in Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, let's talk about Marcus Ambrose, the guy who starts on the pole, and think about what he's been through over this last year and a half or so. He packed up his wife and child, moved halfway around the world from Australia, away from their family and friends, and a successful career there to take a shot at NASCAR. He's had a season of incredible highs and lows, but Marcus told me earlier today he's getting it figured out. He earned his first pole position today. Can he get his first win? We will see. Mitch?
Alan, starting next to Ambrose in the 99 car is David Rudiman, who arrived here today with the slumped shoulders and a long face after missing the Cup show this weekend in Atlanta. Rudiman was angry about it. I talked with him after qualifying, said qualifying second quick is the beginning of the healing process, but boy, wouldn't it be good to get a win. It would go a long way toward easing the pain of not being in that Cup race tomorrow in Atlanta. Shannon?
Well, Vince, another driver looking for a win here tonight is Jason Leffler. He's gone 25 races without a DNF. That's the longest streak in the Busch Series right now. And you want to keep your eyes on him, because the last time there was a Busch standalone event at a short track, Jason Leffler went to victory lane, earning Toyota their first win in the Busch Series. He told me that ever since that night, he's had one thing on his mind: getting back to victory lane. Marty?
And of course, that race was at Indianapolis at O'Reilly Raceway Park. Let's talk about what we should be watching for today, guys.
Well, guys, we've got 4 double-duty drivers starting in the back of the pack, and Randy, they're going to have to be really careful getting up to the front.
Well, not only that, Russell, we have 19 drivers with 15 or fewer starts, 4 making their NASCAR Busch Series debut.
And can Carl clinch the championship? I believe he can. He's just got to stay out of trouble, be careful, and you know what? This guy knows how to do that.
Double backflips.
Double backflips, I love it. All right, let's show you our onboard cameras, as we got just enough time to show you all 8. Mike Wallace, J.J. Yaley, Jamie McMurray, Scott Wimmer, Cale Gale, Jason Leffler, Carl Edwards, and David Rudeman. So that sets the situation with our 8 onboards as they're heading down the backstretch, getting ready to go green here at Memphis Motorsports Park. I guess, guys, in the early part of this race, all eyes will be focused on Ambrose, Rudeman, Franchitti because of the individual stories. But quickly, I think a lot of our attention is going to be towards the back as well, watching these guys that we're going to be trying to work their way up.
You have to be careful you don't run over nobody. That's what these guys are going to have to be careful of. They use a lot of brakes getting into these corners. But not only do you use a lot of brakes, you have to get through these corners pretty darn quick.
Pace car pulls off in turn 4. Marcus Ambrose, his first time leading the field to green. Here we are at Memphis Motorsports Park, and we are going green.
Still there, you? Stop. You see him up there. Still inside. Got it.
Well, looks like we are going to survive lap number 1. Maybe a little bit of smoke in the back of the field. Everybody keeps going. And coming past the stripe, it'll be David Rudeman getting around Marcus Ambrose.
Guys, right now it's pretty cool. The temperatures here in Memphis, Tennessee, and these tires are going to have to get up to temperature. And Randy, they do not get the grip until about 6 or 8 laps into this race.
Well, we don't know. David might have pumped his tires up a couple pounds so he can go out there and lead some laps. He's trying to get all the points he can.
But this racetrack's much like a place like Martinsville, Virginia. It takes a while, slipping and sliding and banging. And that's what's probably going to happen in the back of the pack.
Already, let's check in with Carl Edwards as he is moving his way up through the field. He's into 39th position right now.
And Marty, right now, he's being real careful, getting this number 60 forward right to the front of the pack. He's going to have to take some time, use some caution flags if he expects to win this championship today.
He's looking out everybody's windshield. He's looking out 10 cars ahead of him right now.
And guess who's right there on the outside, the 64 of Chase Austin, just what we were talking about.
Yeah, he just needs to follow Carl Edwards through this pack and be careful. Chase had a great car in practice yesterday, driving that new Atrius Dodge.
So there you see the traffic, and you can see the bumps on the track. The biggest one is right here coming into turn number 3 as we go back on board with Carl.
And Randy, that big bump going on the turn 3, it seems like it's drove the drivers completely crazy. A lot of shock work, things like that going on.
It's getting so much better. You know, the first 2 years we were here, everybody would drive in there and you lock the left front up and the car goes up the hill. The shocks have gotten so much better. The guys have figured out it makes the cars easier to drive.
Let's get an update on the 60 car from Alan Bestwick.
And think about what he's going through right now in these opening laps, guys. Besides being back in the traffic and hoping nobody spins in front of him, these are the first laps he's felt in this car on this racetrack. So he's trying to feel out the handling of the car. When I talked with Carl off the air before the race, he told me, you know, it's kind of fun. There's no pressure. Just get in it and drive and see what happens. That's what he's doing right now.
You know, these guys just love this short track race, and it reminds me of, you know, the old Wilkesboro racetrack, Martinsville, Virginia, places like that where racing like this was born. And this is a great track for some of these youngsters to do good and shine and prove they can get it done.
Right now, you see on board with Carl as he continues to try and work his way forward. He's up to 36th position. Meanwhile, nothing has changed up front. We'll just let you know David Rudeman is still in control. There you see the 26 of Jamie McMurray trying to tuck in behind Carl, take advantage and pull his way up. A little smoke.
Watch your outside. Watch your outside.
Spinner down into the front straightaway as the 72 car has spun it around.
DJ Kennington.
Come on, let's go. Try to get going.
And you know what, Randy? He's stuck in the mud.
Been there, done that. I did that after the race once here.
Guys, we had a lot of rain in the Memphis area the last couple days, and so the infield is very, very wet. And you can see right now the DJ's just flat stuck there. Can't get out. Let's take a look at this.
Looked like he was all on his own here.
Yeah, what happens is you come out at 4, your car's very light. You're under throttle. You turn the car with the throttle here. And he gave it a little bit too much throttle. I'm not sure if he had any help.
Maybe. I don't know. From that angle, it looked like it could have been. But
you usually do.
Yeah, you usually do. All right, we're going to step aside here as we're under our first caution. Remember, we had 16 of them last year. Hopefully, it won't be that bad. This ESPN telecast of the NASCAR Busch Series at Memphis is available in high definition on ESPN2 HD, presented by Vizio. Well, we're under our first caution of the day and was brought out when DJ Kennington went spinning down into Ward's turn number 1. We still couldn't tell whether he got any help.
Supposedly he did, but then his left front tire is also flat. So you don't know if the left front tire went flat or he did get help from a car.
It's hard to blame anything anybody, Marty. We're saying that maybe Daniel Quinn might have given him a light tap at the start-finish line, got him sideways. But that's the worst of his worries right now. Look at his tires.
Well, not only that, look at all the mud and everything he was dropping all over the racetrack and right in the race line down in towards turns 1 and 2. Now there's DJ back into the pits getting fresh tires, and he's going back out.
It looked like he could go plow snow up north for a little while there.
Man, that's a bad thing about all the rain we've had here in Memphis. Getting stuck in the mud like that's a miserable feeling when you just can't get out.
So we continue under caution, so we'll quickly step aside. Tell you the NASCAR Busch Series at Memphis is brought to you by FreeCreditReport.com. Stay on top of your credit score and credit report at FreeCreditReport.com. And by Castrol Syntec. For maximum power, great cars want more than just oil. Give them Castrol Syntec. Well, we're back here under caution, our first of the day at Memphis Motorsports Park. And the reason is, after DJ Kennington got out of the mud, unfortunately he had enough mud on his car he could have been an off-road racer, and they're having to bring out the jet blowers to get the track clear. So this is a bit of an extended yellow for what was absolutely no contact with the wall.
Okay, they've done pretty good, though, getting this race underway right now. I thought we were going to have a lot of cautions and stuff like that happen early. It didn't happen. But one guy I'm pretty impressed with right now is Dario Franchitti. He's been clean, and he's looking good right now, Andy.
Absolutely right. I mean, here's a guy that has won the Indianapolis 500, won the IRL IndyCar Series Championship, comes here, he's made some laps here in an ARCA car. He's with a great race team, and man, oh man, this is really the first time he's run a couple other races, but this is the first time in a together race team.
Well, and you can see his stats there from his earlier experiences at Talladega in the ARCA car and then the truck race. And he said the truck race was my fault. He said, I forgot about the second guy coming through. I got tagged. It was my fault all the way. He came here and tested in a Nextel Cup car, and he said that was a big, big help because he came out of the box and was ready to go. And here he is running in 6th after starting 3rd. Looks like we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing as they come through turn 4. It's David Rudiman, Marcus Ambrose, Jason Leffler, your top 3 here on lap 15 of 250.
Rusty, how bad does Marcus want to lead this race? Anytime you start in a pole and you don't lead the first lap, boy, that kind of gets your goat, doesn't it?
It's kind of humiliating not to be able to lead the first lap after you did such a good job grabbing the pole position. But you know what, guys? The big picture is victory lane, and that's what he's looking at.
We've got caution on the racetrack again as the number 28 car, and the 35 is actually going in the wrong direction as we've got a little bit of contact out there on the wall. 28, of course, is Robert Richardson. The 35 is Bobby Hamilton.
The 14 ran into the 28 and knocked him into you.
So you heard the spotter saying the sequence of events.
Maybe he's going to go this way and make up a lap.
Well, Bobby Hamilton's a pretty good little driver. He's definitely probably trying to get this thing back down pit road somehow. But the problem is you got a pit wall all the way down the front straightaway. He can't simply get himself back into pit road.
I'm wondering if he can turn the cars. That seems to be the problem. Yeah, he's just spinning it around now.
Left side's pretty flat. He hit pretty hard with the left side.
It looks like he about got every corner on it.
You know, that safer barrier, you know, years ago, that there would have been a major league hit.
Guys, we're only 16 laps in this race right now. We already got 2 caution flags. What does that mean? A lot more action to come? Let's hope not.
Shh. Don't think that way. Stay with us. We're coming back to Memphis.
Home of the blues.
And we are in Memphis, just about 20 minutes to the north of Beale Street. We're at Memphis Motorsports Park. Our hotel's right next to Beale Street. I can't figure it out. I don't hear anything from Beale Street, but I can hear the people in the room next to us. All right, let's get ready to go back to green flag racing. The pace car has pulled off. Our second caution is about to end. See how many laps we can put down this time. Still up front, David Ruderman. He's led every lap from the get-go. Pole sitter Marcus Ambrose, Jason Leffler, Brad Coleman, Jason Keller in 5th.
These guys have run long enough right now to get the air pressures up. They just got to get some temperature back in the tires and get these things back to racing.
There's that bump we're talking about heading right there at the opening down the back straightaway.
Well, you know what? That opening is such a cool corner because you get very aggressive in there. You hit the bump. The car bottoms out sometimes. You know, years ago, you used to have sparks come through the car. They got these cars so sealed off, you don't see the sparks no more.
But right now, David Ruderman's got a good handling car up there in the front of this pack, the number 99 car. And you talked earlier about Marcus Ambrose sitting on the pole and can't lead the first lap. I gotta believe it's because Ruderman was so bad about missing that race in Atlanta that he is definitely on the gas right now, trying to bring a victory home.
I'll tell you another guy. Look at Jason Leffler. He is giving Ambrose all he wants right now, just sort of sneaking up in there and saying, hey, Marcus, here I am, buddy.
The first 5 cars here were very good on that, and they have a lap tracker to tell you who's good over a long period of laps. And these top 3 cars, they were all in the top 5.
I think Vince is caught up with Bobby Hamilton Jr. back in the garage area.
Won this race in 2003, not to be today. Bobby, what happened?
We just got turned. I was on the outside of the 28. I looked at my mirrors in the 14 drive down the bottom, 3 wide on a short track. I think he got in the 28, hit me, but that's no big surprise with me dealing with the 14. I've dealt with him before. You know, it's just probably just another loser deal with grandmother. Grandpa's got a bunch of money, got him in a decent race car when I'm taking me out. So you deal with it. You just deal with it.
You hear the frustration, the team working hard to try to get it back together so Bobby Hamilton can get back out, but it's going to be a while.
Now, if you don't know all the story there, the 14 is Kyle Krisloff. The reference to grandma is Mary Holman George, who is the mother of Tony George, the owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So that hopefully puts a period on that.
Yeah, and that's not really too fair of a statement either, guys, because Kyle Krisloff was just doing a pretty good job out there. Got in the back of the 28 car just a little bit. The 28 car driven by Robert Richardson barely bumped into Bobby Hamilton, and Bobby was the victim of that whole thing. So it's just pretty good short track racing, guys.
You know, you want to talk about short track racing? Watch this 21 car and Carl Edwards. You know, Tim McCready in this car won the race here last year. He has very limited laps here out of everybody in this field.
I tell you, the guy is Carl right now. I mean, he is cutting through this field. He is up to 28th and still slicing and dicing.
He'll be in the top 5, I say, by lap 50.
Well, he's just gone around Danny O'Quinn. Shannon, you've got more on Tim McCready?
Spoke with Shane Wilson, crew chief for Tim McCready. This is the car that drove to victory lane last year here at Memphis. Now, Shane told me that they keep this car set up exactly the way that it was last year. That's because Tim doesn't really have the knowledge yet in NASCAR to be able to tell his crew what he needs out of a car. So therefore, they set it up the way that it won, gives Tim a little bit more confidence in that car, confidence on the track to go out and get it done.
And McCready right now running in the 32nd position. And meanwhile, up further, you saw there was Carl Edwards again. He is just continuing to move forward. He's now up to 26th, guys.
You know, one of the fellows I've been watching a lot here is Jeremy Clements in the number 36 car, guys. He has picked up 15 positions. He's been our biggest mover of the race so far. And our Andy Petrie has really helped this fellow a lot. He's really big on him. He's helped a lot with the team, handling stuff like that. And Jeremy is doing a great job today. You're talking a lot of spots, guys. 15. We've had 2 caution flags. We're only at lap 30 right now.
Well, and guess who's coming up right behind him as we take a quick look at the battle for second. There goes Jason Leffler underneath the 59 of Marcus Ambrose. Here comes Brad Coleman as well.
You know, just a minute ago, the 38 gave Marcus a shot in the butt and says, okay, boys, I'm here. I want to go.
And we know this guy knows to get it done. The 38 car, Jason Leffler, he was our winner at Indianapolis Raceway Park this year, and that was a short track, much like this one, Randy. I know it's not the same, but you got to believe they're thinking short track when they come here.
Oh, absolutely right. This is get up on the wheel, be aggressive, have some fun. You got to get the car to turn, and that race team has got that car turning.
You see young Brad Coleman right behind him right now, doing a good job, too.
Let's get an update from Shannon Spake on the 38 car.
Yeah, that's right. Jason Leffler came into this season with 2 goals in mind. 1 was to get Toyota their first win. 2 was to finish highest among all of the Busch regulars. Well, guys, he's got a new goal in mind, and that's hunting down that 3rd place position, which is currently held by Kevin Harvick. Now, Jason Leffler told me today he can get through this race, get a good finish. He thinks he can get ahead of Kevin Harvick and possibly hold him off in the next couple weeks.
All right, thanks, Shannon. As you can see, as the battle is starting to thin out a little bit up front, it is Rudeman opening up about a 2-second lead over Jason Leffler. Brad Coleman in 3rd. Jason Keller has moved into 4th position. Remember, he set that record for the all-time Busch Series starts. This is number 419, and still counting. There's your leaders here at Memphis. Welcome back to the Samstown 250 at Memphis Motorsports Park. That's race leader David Rudeman under our 3rd caution brought out when Brian Clausen spun it in the front straightaway. Let's go to Shannon Spake.
Brad Coleman making his first start here at Memphis Motorsports Park. Not so happy with the car. They're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment. And he's off.
David Rudeman is your leader, and he just took 4 tires, and they made a track bar adjustment. He says he needs forward bite. Still kind of tight in the center of the turn. Alan Bestwick.
Solid run for Jason Keller so far in the opening laps. 4 tire change. Let's see how this team, that's a fairly new team, can compete with some of the big buck pit crews today.
Well, looks like Jason will be 3rd out of pit lane. It'll be Rudeman first off pit lane, followed by the 18 of Brad Coleman and the 11 of Jason Keller, as there they come out towards turn 2.
And man, I tell you, that was a drag race getting out of pit road. Along with these guys almost got together several times leaving pit road. But Randy, they've got to get some fast pit stops here because it's been really hard passing on the track early here in the race so far.
We're going to step aside for a break. Did you notice who came out in 4th? It was Dario Franchitti, so a good stop for the Target team. Stay with us. One lap to go here before we go back green. Our 3rd caution already here at, and this is the reason why.
You take a look at Brian Clausen getting on the 25 car. Richard Johns and just got into a little bit and started to slide and slow up, and Jamie McMurray had nowhere to go and got into him when Clausen started to slow. Just a chain reaction, short track race.
If Jamie didn't hit him, he was going to get spun out because there was a guy right on his bumper.
And the lucky dog goes to Brian Keselowski. Yes, that is Brad's younger brother, and he'll get the free pass to go around as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Our race leader is the 71 car of Ron Young. That's right, he stayed out, so he will be the race leader. David Rudeman, I would think, might make quick work of him as a little bit of a mismatch. Heading down into 1. Here we go.
Well, the top side of the racetrack right now is not where you want to be, but Rudeman's got a pretty fast car. It looks like he's going to get past him pretty quickly. Pretty slick up there. Oh, big wreck in the back straightaway.
That's the 14 again of Kyle Krizeloff involved, so that's his 2nd deal of the day. And brings out our 4th caution.
He definitely had some help from where we looked at that.
At the rate we're going, guys, we're going to be here till Tuesday.
They got lights.
Come straight down pit road. Come straight down pit road.
Trying to see if anybody else has got smoke from their tire rub, but there's what's left of the 14 car.
And you know, when you come off at turn 2 here in Memphis, it gets pretty narrow, and you saw a lot of guys on the restart, Randy, really trying to get it done. Let's take a look at this one more time, guys. Looks like he bumps in the back of the 28, goes on the inside of it. And the 28 car, Robert Richardson, just comes across and gets him. And boy, look at this crash.
That could have been serious for a lot of guys. That was payback right away.
Great angle by the camera crew, guys, to show us. Let's take a look from Scott Wimmer's on board.
Yeah, and I mean, when you saw the 28 car of Robert Richardson chase him down the racetrack, get in the right rear quarter panel, Kyle Krisloff, you got to believe the NASCAR is going to say, hey, I want you down to the truck. I want to talk to you guys. This is something.
Well, and you can see it right there on that angle. He comes all the way over.
We're lucky it's only a single car wreck.
Now, guys, you got to remember early in the race here, the 28 car and the 14 of Kyle Krisloff and Robert Richardson got together, ended up taking Bobby Hamilton Jr. out. That's what started this whole disagreement on the racetrack. And you hate to see the tempers flare already. These guys take each other out because you know what, Randy? It's just maybe not one car. He could have took them all out.
You weren't kidding.
They've just been given the official word. The 28 has been posted for aggressive driving.
You know, as much as that thing is almost camouflage, we could see he wasn't hiding.
Well, you talked about it a little bit earlier this week when we were on the phone together. Lots of temper equals lots of contact at this track.
Well, one thing you got to remember, yeah, this is a short racetrack, close quarters, tempers do flare. But guys, we're only 46 laps into the race, and most of those have been caution flags. And right now, it's not payback time. You talk to the driver when the race is over. You don't take it out with your car.
Well, he's going to be held 2 laps in the pits by NASCAR officials. And he has been called to the principal's office at the end of the race.
Talk about predictable things, Randy. You know why? You and I have been called there, haven't we?
No, that was in school, not on the racetrack.
Oh, come on, you've been in there.
Oh, yeah.
You've been in the NASCAR truck. I know I've been there a couple times.
I had a name on the chair for me.
All I could tell you is when I walked in with him to see Joe Ballage, Ballage goes, I didn't summon you this time.
Hey, we had some great talks with Joe, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We talked a little bit about the car tomorrow. The plan is, of course, 2009. But their feeling is, based on what Joe was telling us, is that it's going to be a different suspension package, a different body package, even though it'll be the same chassis. And their goal is to get some of the double-duty drivers to not do double-duty.
Rusty, as an owner, okay, when they switch the car, we still got one more lap. You know, when they switch the car tomorrow, as an owner, that's got to be a huge expense.
Well, it's going to be a big expense for us, that's for sure, because we got a lot of cars running the 2-car team next year, and a lot of these teams in the same situation. And I got to say, as an owner, I don't like the rules at the moment because it's going to cost us a lot of money. But when it's all changed over, hopefully the pain will subside. And I really believe the new 2009 Busch Series car tomorrow is going to be a pretty good car, which is going to be the Nationwide Series now.
That's true.
All right, let's quickly talk about what's going to happen tomorrow. 4 races to go. It'll be NASCAR Nextel Cup action from Atlanta. The chase is up for grabs. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, of course, looking like they've got good control of it. It's Sunday on ABC. Rusty will be there, 1 Eastern. So will Alan Bestwick. Shannon will be there. They're all heading back as soon as we get done here today.
I would send them on a bus if they don't want to ride with you.
They'll ride.
Yeah, because they don't want to walk. All right, let's get a quick update on Carl Edwards. So let's check in, see where Carl has managed to work his way. There he is, up to the 20th position.
Man, I said he was going to be top 5 by lap 50.
You take a look at his progression. He's being very careful, working himself through the field right now, and it's just what he's got to do. You know, he's watching all this stuff happen all around him, guys, and doing a good job staying out of it. If he just stays careful, he can get his first championship, and we know Carl wants that really bad, as quick as he can.
Well, we talked to him about the pressure of going for the championship.
To be able to win both titles in 1 year would be the ultimate achievement in motorsports in this country. So to me, that's a really big goal. You know, I'm going to run the Busch Series again full-time next year, so I'm already preparing to try to do it next year. But if we can get it done this year, that'd be great.
Well, obviously a very, very long shot to be able to win both the Busch Series and the Nextel Cup Championship with where he's at now with 4 races left.
Absolutely. He's had a tremendous year. To make the chase is awesome. You know, the only guy I've ever known to win 2 championships is Mike Stefanik. Mike Stefanik won the Busch North Series and also the Whelen Modified Series, I think twice.
Hendrick Motorsports Camps really got those top spots covered right now. Clint Boyer, dark horse, doing a great job in 3rd in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. But right now, we're here at Memphis And this thing is turning into a gunfight.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
grenade fight, whatever you want to call it. It's tough.
And let's talk a little bit more about Carl, because it has been the tale of 2 seasons for him. We were talking at the beginning of the first 15 races. As you take a look, he had 4 wins. I mean, he was just destroying the field. Average finish 5.1. And you saw the numbers there with the last 16 races. Average finish like 20.
I think that's the reason the 29 is leading the owner's points. The 20 car. You know, those cars have outperformed Carl in the last half of this season.
And the owner's championship still up for grabs. In fact, Roush Racing is 3rd in that championship chase behind Richard Childress Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing.
Well, guys, you got to believe that doing double duty stuff, Randy, where you just can't concentrate in this car all the time, it's got to hurt the car a little bit. They did struggle with handling late in the season, trying to get this car going. I believe it's hurt them.
Absolutely. You have to stay on board. You got to stay on top of your game. And when the driver is such an integral part of this, you have to really give 110%.
Looks like the pace car is going to pull off this time, so we'll go back to green flag racing. Here, it'll be lap number 51 as it's Ruderman, Ron Young, Brad Coleman, Jason Keller, and Dario Franchitti, your top 5 here at Memphis Motorsports Park. Down into 3, you can see the 71. He's got, and he's going to get turned. Here we go.
Man, it's all over us. Hold on to it. They're still coming. Yellow's out.
Ron Young did a spectacular job, guys, of holding on to it.
Man, he's on a short track. He did a spin. It didn't hit anything. Brad Coleman got in the back of him, and boy, I have never seen a driver on a short track spin like that, not hit anything. That was an incredible piece of driving out of Ron Young.
Didn't I see you do that at Martinsville once?
Well, I don't think it was me. It's probably somebody else. I'm not that good. That's for sure. I can't do that.
Well, when you do a 360 like that, he only lost like 4 spots.
Let's take another look at this before I go back and let you guys duke it out here. You could see, I mean, we could see Ron doesn't have the fastest car, and you just felt that something like this was coming. I just didn't expect it that quickly.
Well, right there, that's where you pick the throttle up. He's in the corner, he's coasting, and the 18 picked the throttle up, he hit the throttle, and that's what got that thing to spin around so quick.
Boy, and look at that, just by about a car width.
Boy, he just got bumped awful hard in
That's
the spot on the exit of the turn. I don't believe I've seen this in a long, long time, guys. You got to wonder if their track's going to have a lot of debris on the top of it later, if he could still do it when those marbles are on top of the racetrack.
We've got to step aside. We're under our 5th caution. Oh, not another record. Just going back to green flag racing here at Memphis Motorsports Park. It is David Ruderman trying to hold off the aggressive Brad Coleman. And that's the freight train coming down the back straights behind both of them.
We just heard a little while ago, one of the reporters told us that Brad Coleman said, I didn't mean to spin out the 71 car. I just picked up the throttle. He was just a lot slower than me. So he's taking the blame for it. He's apologizing.
Checking in now with the 20 car, J.J. Yaley, as he's one of those guys that doing the double duty. Casey Atwood drove the car during practice.
And that car was very good. Right here, you're going in turn 3. It looks like a slinky closing up. Boy, those guys all get together in a hurry down there.
Yeah, it just looked like that turn gets awful narrow, like you said there, Rand, and you can see where they fight for positions getting down into turn 3. And it looks to be a lot tougher than getting into turn 1.
It is. It's a total different racetrack. Turn 3 is a lot tighter, a lot more aggressive.
Get an update on the 20 car from Alan Beswick.
Yeah, here's a guy that started at the back, and he's just cracked the top 12 now. And you mentioned Casey Atwood, a proven winner in the NASCAR Busch Series, doing the practice and qualifying. I talked to David Rogers, this team's crew chief, earlier today. He said their hopes were sky high that they could win the race from the back. He said, now our luck, we're probably setting ourselves up for disappointment, but they felt like they had car and driver that could win today, even starting last. Vince?
One of the cars that J.J. Yaley is battling with is the 90 of Stephen Light. Light commented a moment ago that every time he gets up to Yaley's door, Yaley slams the door. Now, Light's spotter today is his dad, Russ. Normally it's Buddy Parrott, but he's on the 41 with Clausen. But Russ came over the radio and said, well, Put him in the wall if you have to, and now we've got another caution.
And it has come out right there, as it is John Graham in the 37 that has spun it around, coming out of turn number 4. And one of the things, put a period on Stephen Light's situation. When he's getting on the brakes, guys, a lot of tire smoke on that left front.
Well, you have so much travel on these cars. The defender got beat down. I don't think it's going to hurt nothing. It's not on the sidewall of the tire. It's just when he travels the nose, it does get into the defender.
Well, guys, one thing I see right now, if these guys don't calm down a little bit and start logging laps, it's really hard for a young driver to learn.
That's right.
If you can't get enough laps under your belt. Right now, they're wrecking so much, all they're getting is debris on the tires from the restart. That's about it.
It's hard to relax here.
So Brett Rowe will be the Aaron's Lucky Dog winner here during our 6th caution. That's right. 26 of our 60 laps have been under yellow, and our starter's arm is getting tired.
Best Halloween costume ever. Okay. I'm kind of embarrassed.
It's kind of dirty. Man, I'm having trouble remembering that game that long ago.
When I was little, probably my favorite was I was Papa Smurf. That was probably the coolest.
I dressed up as one of the Power Rangers. It was cool. I had the gloves and everything. The gloves made noise like you were fighting somebody. It was a lot of fun. Me and my buddy dressed up as pimps, and we got our girlfriends who dress up as our ladies, and we went out on the town. It was awesome.
I went as a race car driver, wore my dad's uniform that was way too big for me, and his helmet, and that was my favorite, was dressing up as a driver. And, you know, still on the weekends, I still do that quite often. You know, sometimes pose as a race driver.
The part we didn't clarify with Carl was how old was he when he was doing that routine. And there is the pace car still leading, our race leader, David Ruderman. I know what I'm going as for Halloween. I'm going as Rusty Wallace, because whenever we're together, people think I'm him anyway, and it's getting us all confused.
Wow.
I know. It's scary.
Is your mirror lying to you?
Hey, man, when I grew up, I was Zorro.
Were you?
Yeah, I had my sword and everything.
That's awesome. My grandmother used to make me some cool clown outfits.
We're back to green on lap 64. I can't guarantee for how long. It's Ruderman, Coleman, Keller, Franchitti, and Mike Bliss has moved into the top 5, and forget about it. It isn't going to make it one lap. Holy smokes, what are these guys doing today? Bobby East gets turned around.
No yellow yet. There's
no yellow.
Okay, guys, gas it up.
Let them go. All right.
Yeah, I think NASCAR says, you guys go ahead and spin out. We're going to stay racing. This is getting to be ridiculous now. We're not falling for this joke no more, guys.
Yeah, the Halloween trick's on you. Keep racing.
The starter, Kevin Moss, said, man, my arm's tired. Give me a break.
All right, let's show you what happened. Keep an eye on Bobby East, 43.
Got a little loose coming off. It looked like did he have some help with the 5 car?
Maybe. But look at that. Keeps it off the wall. Gets back in the throttle.
He had one of those kick butt engine goodie things.
There you go. Take a look. Here we go. There's Mike Wallace. Goes side by side. And you're on board with J.J. Yaley. He's in 12th. That's Brad Keselowski on the outside.
Who had a very good car. He was also one of the cars that had a good car in long runs. And Stephen Wallace is coming.
He's right there in the 66, and the 90, we are seeing less tire smoke now on Stephen Light's car when he hits the brakes going down the corner.
It looks like a lot of these drivers got their left front fenders bent in from trying to make the pass. On the outside, I saw a couple of them trying to make that, and they've got them all tore up on the inside there. Vince, what are you noticing down there?
What happened with Stephen Light when he came in on his pit stop at lap 39, when he was exiting his pit stop, he actually hit the tire that the tire carrier of the pit stall in front of them had in his hands, and it dinged the left front just about the tire well. And they just came on the radio with Stephen Light a moment ago and said, when you drive it in hard to the corner, we get a little rub. When you're by yourself, it's fine. That could be a problem, because there's not going to be much easy on this race today.
Yeah, that's right. You see that smoke going into one. And pit road, Rusty, as we all know, it is so tight. You only have 42 stalls here. They just now got Chase Austin a pit stall.
Yeah, Chase had a pit with the 66 car. They actually share in the pit. Now he's got a stall. He's starting to move that box in there. But going back to the 90 car, Stephen Lott, Randy, you know, with this fender being bent down on top of the left front tire, you think after a while that tire popping up in the corner will actually knock that fender out of the way, get some clearance.
That's probably, it should. That's right. And I don't think aerodynamically it's going to hurt.
You notice the 16 of Colin Brown getting around Stephen Light. Brown in this ride for Roush Racing, coming over from the sports car ranks. A very aggressive driver. In fact, was actually sat down in that series at one point, and a big opportunity for him.
Absolutely right. There's a lot of guys, you know, that 24-hour dig, I did it the same year Rusty did. And boy, there's some talented drivers in there.
Man, you know, that's where I watched Dario Franchitti for the first time run the 24 hours a Daytona. The guy was bullet fast. And that's where I learned, you know what? He's a serious player. This guy knows how to drive. So we're going to get back to Franchitti later. Dario Franchitti sitting in the 4th position looking good. But right now, Carl Edwards in the 60 car, one of the best guys out there, picked up 26 positions so far, guys. Started dead last in the field, Marty, and what a run to the front Carl's getting right now.
He is up to 13th as he has just gotten around another car and is setting sail towards the front. Brad Keselowski is the next target. Take a look at the points right now. Remember, the magic number is 585. If he has 585 or more, it's his championship.
Yellow's out, turn forward.
We've got another yellow as it is the 40 car of Matt Carter this time that brings out the caution, our 7th so far today.
That's Travis Carter's son.
Yeah, he does a really good job. Won a lot of short track races around the country. He's a great short track racer, so this is you know, this is probably just another one of our small spins. A thing I see about this car, no damage whatsoever.
That's right.
Yeah, I was looking on the right side, looked pretty good, so looks like he'll be able to stay out.
You know, a lot of these drivers have come to Memphis Motorsports Park, to Matt Carter's. Drivers like that who have really wanted to shine on his short track, and I believe it's a good venue for them. But they got to quit wrecking. It looks like they can learn.
Boy,
yeah,
he
you're
gets
right.
turned.
You got to lag laps.
And manages to keep it off the wall. So another great job of salvaging the car after a bad start.
One of the things I was noticing, I was watching the timesheet, and Carl Edwards is running the same speed as the leader.
Well, we're going to step aside here at Memphis Motorsports Park. How long will it take Carl Edwards to get to the front? How long will it take us to get this race in? One lap to green back here at Memphis Motorsports Park, and let's take a look at the biggest movers of the race so far. We just documented Carl Edwards before the break, but take a look at the rookie Chase Austin and Jeremy Clements.
Man, Chase is flying out there.
He's looking really good right now. He's picked up 24 positions in our all-time leader right now.
The best part is,
that is
no damage.
Carl Edwards up 26, but Shannon, what are they saying down there about Chase Austin?
Well, as you know, Rusty, Chase Austin was extremely excited about this weekend, making the race, getting in today, qualifying. He said the goal for today is to just learn as much as he can, get ready for next year. He says if he does that and if he finishes the race, then today will be a success.
That's right. That's one thing these young drivers have to do, just log laps.
Well, and even Dario Franchitti said the same thing. All I want to do is stay on the lead lap and finish the race as we're getting ready to go back to green. He's doing even better. He has been in the top 5, top 6 since the drop of the green flag. Coming to the green, it'll be Rudiman, Coleman, Keller, Franchitti, and Bliss. That's your top 5.
One thing that's going to help these guys, if they get in a long run, they're going to lap a lot of cars. And then they can have an inside lane on these restarts. A single file restart is not hurting these guys.
Well, Randy, we haven't run enough laps right now to really figure out how these cars are handling. A lot of the drivers don't know what to say because the cars have just not come in yet. We've been having so many caution flags.
Jason Leffler looking to go underneath Marcus Ambrose. Here comes Dario Franchitti going under the 11 to Jason Keller, and he gets the job done. So move Franchitti up to 3rd.
Man, is this guy for real? I'd say so. He's been here for 2 days now, running the top 5, and now he's just passed Jason Keller, a fella. Flat knows how to get around here.
And we've got another caution, and just as we talked about Chase Austin, he gets it turned around in turn 2.
Get back in line.
Our 8th caution.
You guys ready down there?
I'm looking to see if there's damage on the car. I don't see much at all.
Either way.
Darn, I can't tell if they're ready.
Don't know exactly what happened to him. Remember, we told you he had just gotten up to the 19th position in the field.
Right now, we're on only 80 laps in this race right now. He's got enough time to catch back up, calm down, make some adjustments to the car. And above all, like Randy and I have already been talking all day here, These drivers just need to log some laps and learn.
But you know one thing, Rusty, if somebody did hit them, you know, usually that makes you a couple tenths faster when it torques you up a little bit.
So our 8th caution, 34 of the 80 laps completed so far have been under yellow, and we really haven't had a super long run yet. Stay with us. Well, despite the fact we've had 8 cautions, you can't disappoint the fans of Memphis. They're happy to be here, and we're happy that you're with us here on ESPN2. It's race number 32 of 35 in the 2007 campaign. It has been a caution-filled event. We said this is the 8th. Last year, the first caution was on lap 46, and there were only 3 cautions before lap 100. And we still ended up with 16 last year. Hopefully we're getting it out of our system now and no more.
That's right. After halfway, we'll be clean and green.
All right, let's reset the field. It is David Ruderman in front of Brad Coleman. Dario Franchitti is in 3rd. Jason Keller and Mike Bliss round out your top 5 as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing as they come out of turn 4 here at Memphis Motorsports Park.
Backing up. Keep digging now. Come on, keep digging. Anyone looking outside? Outside.
Take a look at Jason Keller as he's trying to go underneath Bliss. Can't get it done. And Bliss got a little damage now on his left rear quarter panel.
Well, that was from yesterday. Yesterday he got into the wall, and these guys fixed that car.
You know, the front straight here at Memphis is kind of a D-shaped front stretch. We got another spin.
And it is Chase Austin again. He has this time got some serious damage as he has made contact with the turn 3 wall. And it looks like the hole back into the car.
Looks like a gremlin.
Yeah, he's been squished.
They checked up. I went in too hard. I locked him up.
10-4. Take it behind the wall.
We talked about that earlier. We talked about that earlier. You get into turn 3, everybody checks up in front of you. You know, we do have a brake indicator to put front and rear brakes in, so you got to keep putting rear brakes in so you don't lock up the left front. And obviously, you got on the brakes hard, the rear brakes locked up, and they come around on them.
We're just going to see the tail end of it, and he's already into the spin there, and there is the contact. So a tough break for the 18-year-old, but another page of history as he becomes the 2nd African-American to qualify and start a Busch Series race. And I'm sure it's not going to be his last.
Well, you know, it's all about learning, and he admitted, he said, look, I just messed up. I locked up the brakes. I spun the car out myself. If you get any help, and he'll go back tonight and think about this. And Randy, I guarantee it won't happen again. At least it'll be in his mind.
You know, that's what
watch that.
Whatever happened on the first caution caused this one. You know, when you get behind, your first thing is, I got to get back to where I was.
Shannon, the 18's coming your way.
That's right. Brad Coleman saying the car is a little better, but they're still going to make some adjustments to this car. They're actually telling over the radio, Brad, that they're going to take a rubber out of that left rear. They're also going to make a track bar adjustment. Brad is making his first start here at Memphis Motorsports Park in the Busch Series.
Well, he pitted last on lap 40. We're working lap number 88 right now here. As you can see the stop, it's going to be a little more in length because of that rubber.
And obviously he has some cosmetic damage from getting up underneath the 71 car.
You see the top of the hood knocked down in the very front.
There. Make sure you're all in. Tape them down. Hurry up. Hurry up. Tape them down. The backstretch.
Guys, that hood pin on that number 18 car is a little bit looser. They're trying to get that fixed. And of course, that damage is from when he got under the 71 car a couple laps back and moved him out of the way, spun him out. So you could see that damage on the front hood of Brad Coleman. They opted not to come down pit road because they said that the damage was not severe enough, but they wanted to take care of it on the next pit stop. And as you can see, they've done that.
Well, Randy, it looks like it sheared out the center 2 hood pins of this car. You got the outside edges holding the hood down right now. So we're going to have to take a look at this and see if the aerodynamics will actually blow that hood up.
Oh, that's right.
Or will it stay down?
I can tell you years ago I saw that happen in an off-road race. Walker Evans, the legend, actually finished a race with the hood in his face because he was driving out the side. And there's our lucky dog, the 28 car of Robert Richardson. So he gets the free pass, gets back on the lead lap. which will mean we have 39 cars still on the lead lap of this race.
Well, he's a lucky dog right now, but he's not going to be a lucky dog when he goes that NASCAR truck tonight, and they want to know what happened early in the race between him and that 14 car.
There might be
Kyle Krisloff.
All right, let's talk about action going on tonight. The NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series, 4 drivers in each class locked in a 2-race playoff. Only one emerges with the title. Countdown to 1, 10 o'clock qualifying from Las Vegas. The finals are at Sunday, 7 Eastern. And believe it or not, guys, it's on ESPN 2 and ESPN 2 HD. And John Force made the trip over there. He's not racing, of course, but he went over there. All 4 of his cars are competing. And John, we wish you well as we go back to green flag racing here on lap 89 of 250. Bliss going to try the high side on the 11 of Keller. This could get dicey.
It's definitely not the preferred groove.
Down into turn 3, still going after it, and it looks like Bliss may get it done.
Looks sailed that baby in on the outside of the racetrack and got a big run off of turn 4. Woo. He's pulled up behind Dario Franchitti, but Franchitti doing a great job keeping that car up in 2nd spot.
Yeah. It is Rudeman, Franchitti, Bliss in 3rd. Let's get an update on Mike Bliss. Alan.
And a good finish would be quite the thing for Mike Bliss in this 22 car, Marty, because this car was wrecked in practice yesterday. The car got away from Mike in turn 3, that tricky spot that Rusty and Randy were talking about earlier. He backed into the wall with the left rear corner. Paul Wolf and his crew, the crew chief and his team, repaired that machine. They qualified well today. Mike Bliss told me before the race, if we're going to win a race, this is a place we can do it.
See, he started 16th and has moved his way up to 3rd, and he's got more damage in both the right front and left rear corner of the car. But obviously in short track racing, aerodynamics, as long as it's not rubbing, it's okay.
Well, you know, we talked about this car a little bit. Paul Wolf has been a great crew chief for this team. Mike Bliss and him get along real well. They've got this car handling. I mean, almost every single race, Randy, this car drives good, handles good, it runs fast.
They have done a great job. Another caution.
And we've got another crash, and it's the 71 again that we can see through there. That is Ron Young involved this time, and the 9 car of Chase Miller. So, if you remember, 71 had a little bit of a spin a little bit earlier, had a little nudge, and Chase Miller getting it restarted again, but I don't think the 71 is going to be able to come off the wall without some help.
Ron Young did a good job spinning that car and not hitting anything early. Looks like the car is not tore up hardly at all right now.
We're under our 10th caution, 41 laps. Let's go back and see what happened. Well, he's already turning right there, guys.
Yeah, he is. He's on the gas. That's right. He was loose, and he just come there, and he lost some grip, and next thing you know, he's in the grass.
And Chase Miller had nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah, he had nowhere to go, the 9 car at Chase Miller, and that's not much damage on his car, so I believe Chase is going to be okay and get it back out there. Right now, we're on board with Jamie McMurray. And Jamie's just threading the needle, and look at that smoke. It looks like a Days of Thunder movie.
You weren't getting a 9 car. I mean, I'm not sure how hard he was looking forward, because Jamie seen the accident happen, and he lifted.
Kevin Moss has radioed us and asked if anybody wants to volunteer to take over in the flag tower. His arm's tired.
He used to have a lot of hair. He used to comb his hair a lot, so he shaved that off. He got to do something.
You're not going to get me commenting about anybody's hair. I'm just happy to have some. David Rudeman has been the man up front most of the day here. We've had 3 different leaders, 4 lead changes, but he's really been the dominant race car. The biggest surprise to me, guys, I have to tell you, I expected Dario Franchitti to do well, but I didn't expect him to be up in 2nd place in his very first Busch Series start.
After watching him yesterday and watching him run laps like he did yesterday, he's awesome. He's a good shoe.
But how many times have we seen guys come in on their first race, qualify well, but once they get in there with the slicing and dicing and all the contact, that first race they have a tendency to back up. He's not backing up.
He did early. He dropped back to like 7th, but boy, he just drove himself back up.
Here comes Mr. Keller. Jason's in. Alan, is all yours.
Yeah, Jason, the farthest forward car to make a pit stop here. Little crew chief Todd Gordon strategy play here. They're going to come in, get their tires, make their adjustments here. We've had all these laps run under the caution flag. I think we get a little bit of a green flag run going. You'll see these guys stay out when everybody else pits. We'll see how it all works. And also, they've got a little bit of left front damage there on that 11 car. You see the crew working at that right now.
and this is interesting. Let's throw this out for the two of you to kick around. Our longest green flag run so far today has been 19 laps. This may work.
Oh, absolutely. This is something that, as a driver, you know, we don't know strategy. I never played strategy. I just pit when they told me to pit. Sometimes it works in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't.
All right, we're going to step aside for a commercial break. What is going to unfold next here at Memphis? It has been a slugfest. We told you it would be. To green flag racing here at Memphis Motorsports Park, and just like every time before when he's been up front, David Rudiman opens up a quick lead. This time it's over Dario Franchitti in the 42. Mike Bliss in the 22 is third. That 9 car, Chase Miller, is a lap down. He's on the inside trying to hold off Jason Leffler. Can't do it.
You know, these guys have been crashing like crazy throughout the day, and Randy, you got to believe that the cold tires, things like that's what's causing it.
And we got another one in turn 2. The 36 car this time goes around. Jeremy Clements, as he was running very well right up until that moment. Jeremy had ran up to the 16th.
That ain't your fault. I mean, hell, you give them all the room they needed.
You could blame cold tires. People are just running into each other.
And you heard it right in the video. The frustration factors really start.
I think it's a 77.
People feeling like they're given enough room, but it's not enough room.
No, that's right. And there's no reason to run over people. This is a long race. We're not even halfway yet, and these guys, there's half these guys got their noses stove back to their radiators.
Take a look, the very tail end of it. Yep, he gets a little help right there, and it's the 77 car.
You know, I really don't think Brandon Miller meant that in purpose. Looks like he got in the corner so deep, so hard, couldn't slow the car down, and got up in there. And Randy, it looks to me like...
Here we go. This will be a little nudge.
He's probably telling him he's number 1 right now.
And it looks like these drivers are just trying to pass all they possibly can on these restarts, trying to get all they can, every position, and they're overdriving these cars, getting them loose, sliding up the track, causing a lot of wrecks.
Well, if these keeps nudging each other, look at this, the most cautions in the Busch Series this year, 13 at Dover. Today we're already up to 11, and the rate these guys are banging into each other and sort of agitating each other, it could be a real full hauler in the NASCAR hauler at the end of...
Yeah, I think we need to talk about why is this happening, though. I mean, we got a pretty cool day here at Memphis, and Randy, on these short tracks, we all know it's about grip. It's about getting heat in your tires, and can these guys get enough heat to get racing here?
Well, it takes 10 laps. You know, the 10th lap on these guys' tires are the fastest. But then again, you got to get some heat in these things before you run over somebody.
Jeremy Clements in the 36 has been told he will be held 2 laps for that little incident out on the racetrack where he was holding up the 77 of Brandon Miller getting into the pits. Brandon, the 6th different driver in this 77 car. And let's talk about some. We've got some time here, guys. We've had 160 different drivers in the Busch Series this year, and only 9 have competed in all 31 prior races. What does that say about the series? I mean, it's hard for the fan to identify who's in what car. It's even hard for us from race to race.
Well, the series is really strong, Mark. It really is. They're doing a great job. Right now, you got to remember, this is kind of an isolated incident. We're at a short track right now. This is the shortest track in the NASCAR series. We call it, you know, the grassroots style racetrack, a lot of bumping and banging. So let's not judge everything about what's happening right here. Nationwide's coming in next year. This series is going to grow and get stronger and stronger as it goes in. And with the new car tomorrow coming in 2009, NASCAR's got a lot of great plans for this series. It's a good time to be in the series, but not a good time right now, though.
Well, yeah, that's right. These fabricators are going to work in overtime here in the next couple of weeks.
All right, let's take a look at Dario Franchitti. There he is from David Rudiman's back deck as he is in 2nd place. Let's get an update on that Charger from Vince Welch.
Well, guys, they're playing a little cat and mouse between the 99 pit crew and the pit crew of Dario Franchitti, and they're pitted right next to one another, so it's easy to keep an eye on each other. They'll put their tires on the pit wall, and then they'll take them off, and then they'll put the tires back on the pit wall and take them off. But they're side by side in the pit box, in the pit lane, so there's a lot of watching what's going on in that other box.
There you see that bump with a ski mogul, and look out, we've got another spinner in turn number 3 and more contact into the wall, and it is the 66 of Stephen Wallace. And Rusty, get your checkbook out, buddy.
Well, I saw that one come when the 88 car, Brad Keselowski and Stephen were going at it.
Okay, he's okay, all right. He's okay. The 88 dumped him on purpose. 88 dumped him on purpose.
So get caught up here. Get caught up. Guys, it looks like deck lid and left side. Deck lid and left rear.
Let's go back and take a look at it. The 88, Brad Keselowski.
Turn 3 going in there and just jacked them right up. You're on the brakes hard right there. You're on the brakes, and you're either going to lock up and slide into the guy, but then again, I mean, that started to restart before, Rusty. Going into turn 1, Steven was up underneath him, and they both went up the hill pretty hard.
All right, we'll step aside for another break as we're under our 12th caution. Stay with us. I know you've heard us say this before, but we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing here at Memphis Motorsports Park. Our 12th caution for 51 laps. We're working lap number 108. We can tell you that the 88 of Brad Keselowski will be penalized 1 lap for aggressive driving for forcing this last yellow as he got into the 66 of Stephen Wallace. And he comes in right now for a pit stop. Meanwhile, let's get an update on the 88 from Alan.
Well, Tony Urick Sr., the crew chief, told Brad about the penalty over the team radio. Brad's response was, well, I didn't wreck the 88. He slowed down more than I was expecting him to, and I did hit him, but I didn't wreck him, NASCAR, knowing that NASCAR monitors their scanners. But I'll do what you tell me to. So he's here. They're changing the tires. They're going to put a little bit of that Bear Bond patch on the hole in the nose from the contact and wait until that official standing in front of the car says you can go.
As we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing, remember it was back here in June when he was discovered in the truck race subbing for Ted Musgrave. Dale Earnhardt Jr. saw Brad Keselowski do a very nice job, and that's how he ended up getting this ride. Right now, he's still waiting to be let go from pit lane as we go back to green flag racing here on lap 108 of 250.
Well, I tell you what, that 99 and David Ruderman, these guys are going.
We got another spin. The 5 of Landon Castle goes around. We can't even make turn 1, guys. What is going on out here?
Caution's out. Take your time here, Landon. Take your time. Caution's out. All right, bud, get that thing in here.
At a point, it's humorous.
Is it full moon?
At another point, you're right. It's like, what's going on to the... You're saying this can't be a group of professional drivers that we see week in and week out banging up this much this soon. Take another look.
Everybody's checking up, and he got in there. He checked up, and Jamie did it. That's the second time Jamie spun somebody out.
You know, guys, I don't know if this has ever happened before, but I think probably right now, if they had the time, they should stop the race, get them all out of the cars, have another driver's meeting.
There you go.
And ask them, what are you doing? Calm down. We got to put a race on for these fans, and I believe it might help if that happens.
Well, it's either that or bring them into pit lane and take a ruler like you did in school and then get your knuckles slapped. Here, does this remind you? Look at poor Kevin. He's leaning over.
He's sucking wind. He's going to need oxygen. Oh, they're going to need a double wide for a NASCAR hauler at the end of this thing.
And we talked a long time about how cautions breed cautions, and this is a bit ridiculous right now. But what I'm seeing, it's all being caused on these restarts. The guys just can't get the cars to stick to the racetrack. It's cool temperatures out here, like we talked earlier. Drivers just over driving the cars under these conditions.
And these guys, you know, they are. Jamie is one of the best in the business. He's a Cup winner, and he's run over 2 guys. So what do? I mean, these guys have to realize when you go back to green, guys, this is not a qualifying lap.
Well, good thing right now, Carl Edwards is up to the 9th position, guys. He's come from dead last all the way up through the field right now, and he's avoided all the wrecks. He's been watching what's been going on. He's done a good job keeping that thing out of trouble.
There we are on board with Carl. Take a look at the points right now. Remember the magic number. That's what we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast. 585. That number or higher, and it is clinched for Carl. He's 4 points away from being able to accomplish that feat, even though David Ruderman is out in front of this field and has been for the better part of the day. Ruderman has led 106 of our 111 laps run so far. The only other lap leaders, Jason Keller has led 1 lap, and Ron Young stayed out during a yellow flag to lead 4 laps. Behind the Corvette pace car, there is David Ruderman.
He pulls away. Once they drop that green, in 1 lap, he pulls away 10 car lengths.
In second place, Dario Franchitti in his Busch Series debut. Third place is now Mike Bliss, Jason Leffler, and Scott Wimmer in 5th. Let's talk a little bit about Scott in that 29 car. First off, another paint scheme. This one was done by a fan contest run by Holiday Inn, and that's the winning competition entry. And a very nice paint scheme. But talking to Scott before qualifying today, that owner's championship that they are currently leading for Richard Childress Racing, that is paramount on their mind. It is the only thing they're thinking about. They want to win it. Alan, you got more?
Of course, Scott Wimmer's contract just extended to remain as the partner with Jeff Burton in this car for Richard Childress Racing. And I talked with Scott this morning, and he said he's very gratified to stay with a team that has all the latest technology. He said he's learned so much by sharing a ride with Jeff Burton. Now, Wimmer has not won yet in this car this year. I almost feel like he's putting as much pressure on himself about that as anyone. He said he's very disappointed that he hasn't been to victory lane yet, but they've contended to win just about every race he's been in. He said, it's going to happen. Sooner or later, it'll happen. And as long as we keep contending, then I'll be happy. And we should point out, Holiday Inn has extended a new multi-year contract with the team. Let's take a look at the owner points. And maybe some of you are at home are saying, well, what's so hot about this? Well, Rusty Wallace, you're a car owner. How important is it?
Now, the owner's points are everything in the world when it comes to the car owner. That's how they're judged for the point monies they get. The provisional starts, if there's a rain out, things like that. So it's big for the car owner to win this championship.
We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing now. It is David Rudeman leading the field as we go back green at lap 113 of 250.
Any predictions?
I'm just praying we make it through lap 1.
See Mike Bliss already on the outside of the lap car. Brad Keselowski right now trying to pick up a position right there, working the top of that track. Been a lot of bite on the top side on these restarts.
Keselowski not giving up the position, and hey, we made a lap.
I wish you wouldn't have said that, Marty.
yeah, watch Kiss of Death. I'm like the Sports Illustrated jinx. Keselowski, of course, one lap down in 35th. We have 34 cars on the lead lap, and I guarantee you all those guys right now want him out of the way.
Well, his car's good enough to run in the top 5.
And he's going to try and hold on because he would get the lucky dog pass next time if there was another caution. Like I'm saying, like there isn't going to be another caution. On board with Jason Leffler right now in 4th position.
We're going to see how much patience Mike's had with the 88. The 88's working the back bumper of Dario pretty hard.
So guys, I was just watching a 10 car of Brent Sherman out there running. He really got loose off a turn 2, and you can still tell on these restarts, these guys are slipping and sliding everywhere. Just can't get the grip.
And look at the 88. He's trying to get around and underneath Dario Franchitti, and Franchitti is on the high side, and here comes Bliss trying to work his way around. So you're right, the 88 car of Brad Keselowski is able to run up front, even though he is a lap down. And now here comes Bliss down into the corner underneath, and again we've got smoke coming out of turn 4 and another spin. Yellow is out, 27 this time of Brad Baker. So the Bruco Motorsports team with Brad Baker.
His dad just purchased that. Rusty, his dad's been around. He owned.
Gary Baker did just purchase the team. Take another look. Looks like he got a little help.
They were kind of 3 wide. You saw Tim McCready right there in the middle of that. They all got sideways and lost, and Brad Coleman got in the side of Brad Baker, and on around they go.
Yeah, and how much damage to the 18 car as well, because he got into him pretty good.
Gary Baker just bought this Bruco racing team. This is his son driving the car, trying to gain some experience, get some track time out there. And Gary Baker, remember him from the Nashville Speedway. Guy loves racing.
Oh, talked to him yesterday. He relishes the old days. He wish he could bring it back to the old, but he realizes it just that ain't going to happen.
Hey, Jason Keller might be the smart one. He already pitted. Now everybody else is hitting pit road.
Yep, here comes your race leader, David Rudeman. He last pitted on lap 40. We're working lap 118, as you can see at the top of your screen. 38 is in. Let's go to Shannon.
Jason Leffler, he says he's going to get four tires. Difficult for him to really tell what this car is doing with all of these yellow flags, but they're going to come down 4 tires. He said on lap 40 that he was having some problems with forward bite. Alan.
And Mike Bliss is going to...
The 99 car of David Rudeman is your leader as he came into this pit stop. They're going to take on 4 tires, make a track bar adjustment, and Dario Franchitti is in as well. Let's go to Alan.
And Mike Bliss is going to pit from a top 3 spot. Going to be a 4-tire change here. It's been kind of a game of do whatever David Ruderman does for these guys where their pit strategy is concerned. And when Ruderman hit pit road, that was Mike Bliss's cue to pit.
All right, thank you, guys. As you can see, some of the cars stayed out off pit road. It was Sterling Marlin who picked up 5 spots, and the first time we've been able to talk about Sterling as he moves up a little bit in the field. Obviously, the race leader still out on the track right now as we're way out of sequence because of all these yellows.
That's right. I asked Sterling, I said, Sterling, what car are you driving? And he really couldn't say the name because I'm driving the Tribe car.
The Tribe car. All right, as we are on lap 119 at 250, this is, well, the Jackman for Carl Edwards' car as they go to work on their pit stop.
There's a tail on the lead lap right now. Here we go.
Back here at Memphis Motorsports Park, our 14th caution of the day. For 61 of our 122 laps. If you're just tuning in, let's get you caught up as it has been a bit of a slugfest. That is DJ Kenneting doing a little off-roading. In fact, we had so much rain here yesterday and a couple of days before, it's sink up to the axles if you go in. Then it was Kyle Kriseloff in the 14 and Robert Richardson in the 28 getting together. Richardson didn't like what Kyle did, so he retaliated. NASCAR said, we'll see you at the trailer after the race. Chase Austin, the 18-year-old rookie, second African-American to make a Busch Series start, unfortunately bangs the wall after locking up the brakes going into turn 2. And then Stephen Wallace gets an assist from Brad Keselowski. Keselowski gets a 1-lap penalty for aggressive driving and stays out during this caution and now finds himself at the very end of the lead lap. He is right in front of race leader Stephen Light. Light stayed out. He last pitted on lap 75. So it is Light, Marcus Ambrose, Jason Keller, Danny O'Quinn, and Brian Keselowski, Brad's younger brother, rounding out your top 5.
The top 10 did not pit on this one. So we're going to see what happens, see if these guys can stay off each other, and watch when the sticker tires come in.
Yeah, it was Light and also Danny O'Quinn. They last pitted at lap 75. Ambrose and Keller stopped on lap 95. We're working lap 123 right now, so a lot of guys off sequence because of all the cautions. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. And a reminder, that's Keselowski at the very end of the lead lap. The race leader is Stephen Light in the 90.
Right now, Keselowski's really going to be trying to hold off Stephen Light and hoping for another caution to get back in the lead lap. And right now, he's got clear sailing. Looks like he's pulling the 90 car, Stephen Light, pretty good now down the back straightaway.
And look at the 59, our pole sitter, Marcus Ambrose. He is now listed in 2nd place, tucking in as close as he can to that bottom line.
Yes, sir. And Marcus Ambrose got a lot of damage down the right-hand side of that 59 car. Beating and banging, tire rubs up and down. But it's still running good right now, even though all that contact they've been having.
If you take your car back to the hauler and it's in perfect condition today, you weren't in this race.
Yeah.
Well, if you were, you definitely drove a great race, and you didn't get run into.
Well, I've been following and watching this sport for a long time and competed in it for a long time, guys. I don't believe I've ever seen anything like this action that's been happening. We're up to 14 caution flags. And let's just hope we can run some laps right now.
Our longest green flag run, if you're just tuning in, has been 19 laps. To give you an idea, and here we are. We've just passed the halfway mark at the race. There is Carl Edwards, of course, one of our big stories. Carl trying to clinch his first NASCAR Series championship. And remember, he stopped, so he is back in 19th place. In fact, now starting to jump up through the field is Carl as he is working his way. That's Jason Leffler. There goes David Reagan underneath. And that is for position. So they're a little bit further back after making this round of pit stops.
Well, these guys just aren't going to give it to Carl Edwards, that's for sure. Carl's going to have to earn this one, and this is close quarter he's in right now.
And we've got more smoke and spins going on down the front straightaway. There's the 49 and the 71. You've got Brian Keselowski. Oh, and Carl Edwards is in it.
Unbelievable. Our points leader is crashed at the start-finish line. A victim of what's happened here.
Sterling Marlin in the
Ain't that bad.
car.
We'll work on it. We'll just get this son of a out of the way.
They can't get the 40 car. That's Carter, Matt Carter, and he's dropping fluid all over the place. Carl, as he's got a radiator issue as well. Remember, the last 2 races, Carl has not finished in the Busch Series. The only 2 DNFs he's had all year. It's one of the reasons he hasn't been, and he just spins now.
Well, he got into the oil from the 40 car.
Watch your inside.
I'm wondering if maybe he has a leak himself.
Well, the 40 car laid a whole line of oil down there, and Carl went whistling in there and just kind of, uh-oh, look out.
Well, at least he didn't do any more damage. He's got a rub on the left front tire.
Out here, I guess.
Guys, it's not over yet. It's not
If you
over
want to
yet.
come, if you got to work on it, you got to stay out now.
It's not over yet for Carl Edwards. The rear back of the car, the rear spoiler's in good shape. They can pull out that left front fender. They can beat out that right front fender because, Randy, aerodynamics here is not as important to a place like Atlanta or Charlotte or something like that. So Carl's still in the hunt here.
Oh, absolutely right. He's still, did he lose a lap here? He might
Yes.
not. He
Yes,
lost
he did.
a lap. Okay. And, you know, the way these guys, oh, well, 3 wide. And that guy in the middle got stuck in the middle.
71. That's Ron Young, the 49 of Brian Keselowski, and then off to the left of that is where Carl gets swept up with it. Here we go, on board with Carl.
He's seen it happening. He was slowing down.
Oh my, hello.
He got hit in the left rear.
Yeah, he had nowhere to go. Sterling Marlin got turned. Take another look at it here.
Well, they stayed on him, and the whole time Carl slowed down, and then somebody got into his left rear.
Yeah, all that happened in front of Carl, and look at the damage on the 60. And he is probably wondering, what did I do wrong to end up in this mess?
Well, Carl was doing a really good job. You heard him in and out of the throttle trying to slow the car down, not get hit in the back too hard when he's trying to slow down. But just about the time he had it cleared, there's the one car parked right in front of him. And folks, it's hard to get stopped that quick.
Alan, let's send it your way.
Well, they're talking on the radio about the damage to the car. Carl is fairly calm, as is his crew chief, Pierre Cattell. They're trying to ask Carl that second spin if he was leaking something or if he hit something on the racetrack. We could see from here the damage on the left side driver's door and the left front fender. You see the crew there trying to pull that around. They've already worked around the right side of the car and pulling out that right front fender as well. The damage doesn't look too bad, but Carl has reported that his steering wheel is not straight. So that means they're going to work on the front end alignment under the car now as they have time. Of course, they got to try and keep him on the lead lap, so they'll do work, put some tires on it, send him back around, and try and make as many stops as they can to continue to straighten out that front end alignment.
See the view from Cameron Cobb, our crew cam. And we should point out Carl is a lap down already. They got to keep him from going 2 down at this stage. While all this goes on, we'll step aside for a break. We are under our 15th caution, and we've just passed halfway here at Memphis. The record is 16.
Town has been rejuvenated with the play of the ageless Brett Favre, the NFL's all-time touchdown passer, takes on a quarterback of the future in Jay Cutler of the Broncos. The Packers in the Mile High City kick off at a special time, 8:05 Eastern, on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
And so as Monday Night Football gets ready to tee up, we might still be here racing on Monday, as this has been a slugfest, 15 cautions. Dario Franchitti just made it through on that last caution. Here's what happened on the radio.
All right, they're spinning up here. Just to ease up. Stay to the high side. Stay to the high side. Watch out. Check up. Go low. There you go. Hell, forward, dude. What a move. Awesome, dude. Good job.
Now,
another close one.
Folks, I guarantee you, Dario in his IndyCar career has never been called awesome, dude. Vince?
Well, I tell you, Tony Glover came to Dario just a moment ago, and he said, asked if Dario flat spotted his tires during that incident, and Dario said no, and Glover said, well, you should know, as crafty as a veteran as you seem to be, going through that melee, and Dario said very calmly, I had my eyes closed.
All right, we have been told there's going to be a red flag here because they need to clean up the track and work on it, so they'll stop on the backstretch. To put a period on Dario right now and how well he has been driving, how tough is it to be successful in your first start? 38 drivers, including today, have made their first Busch Series start here in 2007. Only one has a top 10 finish in that start. That was Patrick Carpentier, finishing second at Montreal.
You know, he's a good driver. Dario Franchitti is, that's for sure. But one thing he's got also is a good team. They gave him a good car.
That's right.
The car looks good on the racetrack. I like the way the front end looks, how it's turning. Dario's doing a good job staying out of these wrecks. I mean, this is a peculiar situation. that's going on here today. There's a lot of rookie drivers making a lot of rookie mistakes. And we talked earlier, the rookies are here because they want to cut their teeth. They want to learn.
Well, 5 drivers have scored their first Busch win in their first start, as there is a season high for our Cautions Day. Those 5 drivers in their first ever start: Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Kurt Busch, and a guy we got to give a shout out for birthday, Joe Ruttman. He'll be 63 tomorrow, and we got a birthday to Dave.
That's right. Another guy drove, Rusty. He's an influence on your career, Dick Trickle.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations, Dick Trickle, one of the world's greatest short track drivers. Won over 1,000 short track wins. Richard Petty, we talk about him winning 200, but how about 1,000, guys? That's incredible.
I seen a thing that, you know, he got Rookie of the Year on the Cup circuit when he was 48. You think that'll ever happen again?
Well, he's 66 today, so happy birthday. The officials asking the drivers if they want a bottle of water.
I hope there's not vodka.
No, because we're already driving like we're drunk out here. Let's talk a little bit about our young guys. We've given a tap to a hat of the guys that are celebrating birthdays. Here are the guys that are 21 and younger in this field, and took a look at the ones that have been involved in spins or wrecks today, and you can see it has been a few, but it shouldn't be just about anybody. You're lucky if you haven't been involved.
Yeah, that's right. Young or old, you know, guys are just running over everybody today.
Everybody's got involved in accidents all day long. You guys are right. It is a tough deal. I can't blame it a lot on all the rookies. I've seen a lot of the veterans get involved in it. But, man, what a deal.
All right, we're going to step aside as they continue to clean up this racetrack. You're looking at the race leader, Stephen Light. We've completed 134 of 250 laps. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the 24 Hours of Memphis. Marty Reed along with Rusty Wallace and Randy LaJoy, and it has been an eventful day. We're under a red flag situation, 15 cautions for 68 laps. We're 134 of 250 laps into this race. You heard the exchange on the radio a little bit earlier with Dario Franchitti, who has had an astounding debut here in the NASCAR Busch Series, and that is all despite the fact, if you missed in the very beginning of the broadcast, he's doing it without his scheduled crew chief. And for more on that, let's bring in Vince Welch.
That's right. Brian Patty was supposed to be the crew chief for Dario Franchitti today, but they had a family health emergency. Brian left yesterday after practice and was not able to be back for the race today, and certainly send our thoughts and prayers to Brian and his family. And Tony Glover, who is the team manager for Ganassi, took over as the crew chief for today, or the one keeping radio communication with Dario throughout most of the afternoon today, and sitting on the box. And he's walking back to the Ganassi pit box right now. He's over checking on one of his former drivers, Sterling Marlin. Of course, won Daytona 500 with Sterling a couple of times, and there's a good look at Tony. So it's been an interesting day for this team, and they just radioed down from the spotter stand. Lauren Rainier is the spotter, and he said, Tony, have you ever seen anything like this before in your life? And Tony shook his head and went back, keyed back the radio and said, no, I think this takes it all. And it's been one of those days. We're pretty happy with their driver, though. I'll give you that. Dario Franchitti, they are thrilled with the way he is taking care of the race car today.
All right, thanks for the update, Vince. Let's also update you on our in-race reporter. That's Carl Edwards. Of course, he's trying to clinch a championship, but right now, he's had a very eventful day. Before we talk to him, again, if you're just tuning in, let's get you caught up. He started at the back of the field and then had worked his way up into the top 10 until this incident, as he got swept up as we're on board with him. Watch the number 1 of Sterling Marlin right in front of him. I got nowhere to go. And he finds himself now a lap down, and on his way back to the pit lane, almost put it in the wall again as he got into the oil that was dropped. And that's why we're under the red flag. They're trying to clean up this racetrack. Let's try and talk to him, Rusty.
Carl Edwards, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us, buddy?
I got you, Rusty.
Well, we're up here trying to figure out why this is happening, Carl. A lot of crashes. We're up to 15 caution flags, 134 laps in this race. Can you make any rhyme or reason why this is happening?
I don't know. I don't know. I just hope we can get it going, you know, and give these fans a show, you know, before the day's over. But you know, the track is very slick right off the bat on tires, and I think everybody's just fighting for the bottom. At least that's what I've noticed. We've got a great race car. Scott's Fusion's fast on long run, but at the beginning it's just it's real choked up. We got a lot of guys. I think they said 15 or 19 guys first time here, and it's just a tough place.
Well, Carl, we're taking a look at your car right now, and your left front fender appears to be in pretty good shape. The back of your car looks to be in pretty good shape. A little damage on the right front, and I'm sure PK and the guys are going to work on that to try to get it better. It looks like you're still in the game. Looks like you can still win this championship and get this lap back.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for telling me what it looks like. Sitting here, everything looks pretty straight, but yeah, we just got stopped there, and the 40 car just couldn't get stopped behind me or something, and got us. But hopefully, there's nothing torn up too bad. We got a great race car. It's super fast. If we could just get some racing in, get back on the lead lap, we can make the most of it here.
Well, I just want to give you a little confidence right there. When I was a driver, they tell me the car was fine when it was really tore up really bad. So I know PK's not lying too bad to you. So I just want to assure you the car's still pretty good. We'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, thanks, man. If it is bad, don't tell me. I appreciate thinking it's good. That's good.
Let's check in with Pierre Cattell.
PK LaJoie here. Now, you told him the car's fine and you might have just a tick of damage on it, right?
Oh, yeah, you know how it is. We got some damage on it, but we got it straightened out for him. I had to adjust that toe, and things going to be good to go.
Okay, you worried about darkness? We might be racing in the dark. You have to play some strategy here.
Yeah, hopefully that's not going to happen. 116 laps to go, but that is always one thing to think about here.
Okay, good luck for the rest of the day.
Get it, Randy.
And the cleanup continues as they're trying to get the track back. As you can see, the sun in the top right portion. And again, let's show you the points as of right now. The magic number, if Carl leaves here with at least 585 points over David Ruderman, it's over. And as you can tell, it's not done yet because of what just happened to bring out this red flag. You can hear the jet dryer in the background. They're using it to get the oil off of that front straightaway. Meanwhile, all the cars, look at the damage. This looks like your old junkyard, Randy.
Yeah, this is true.
For folks who may not know, Randy used to be in the, still has the junkyard business, and I'll tell you what, you may have some customers at the end of this one. Stay with us. Still under our red flag situation at Memphis Motorsports Park as they're continuing the cleanup on the front straightaway, but it looks like we're going to get going here pretty soon. And you can't dull the spirits of these fans here in Memphis. It's been a great crowd that came out today. The sun, as you can see, starting to set off into the west and getting kind of low in the sky. Yeah, the reason this has been such a long day, well, we've had 17 cars that have either spun or been involved in crashes. I'm not going to try and keep up with all the names on all these. Just take a look at the contact that has been going on here at Memphis Motorsports Park. Some of it accidentally, some of it absolutely deliberate.
The only one I know is happy about this is a man from Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, Greg Fornelli. Every time there's caution, he's like, okay, cha-ching.
Ring the register. And of course, the most important crash of all on the day involving the championship is yet to come. It was the last one right here. That's Carl Edwards when he gets nudged from behind and goes into Sterling Marlin in the one car. Guess what? Cars have refired. And look at this. When was the last time you saw a stat like this? We've actually run more caution laps than green flag laps.
That is just amazing. 68 caution laps and 66 green flag laps. And, you know, if you really take a look at it, those green flag laps, a lot of them are just getting up to speed.
You ain't kidding.
No, and really, we've still only run 19 green flag laps. That's the longest run we've had. So nobody really knows what they have in a really long run situation here at Memphis. Take a look at Jason Leffler. He is one of 3 winners here in 07 that are racing here today. Jason Leffler along with Carl Edwards and Stephen Light, the only 3 in the field. Let's get an update from him from Shannon Spake.
Well, Marty, Jason Leffler's team used that flag, that stop, just for a little bit of help for their own team. Of course, everyone has damage on their cars right now. Crew chief sent some of the crew guys over to the backstretch to take a look at Jason Leffler's 38 car just to assess the damage, see how much that car has. They thought that there may have been more damage than there really was. They said they're fine. Crew chief's also telling me that they think that they can make it on fuel. They say they do need the help of a couple cautions in order to do that. About 30 caution laps, and they'll be able to make it to the end. Vince?
We'll check in here with Bruce Cook. He's the crew chief on the 90 of Stephen Light, currently the winner. I know there was some discussion as to whether you were going to pit after you go back green here. How did you come to the decision?
Well, first of all, Stephen Light's done a very good job today for us, and Robert Yates Racing, his City Financial Ford Fusion crew has done a really good job today. Sometimes the crew chief, you know, he's the one that has to make decisions. Sometimes when you have a good crew behind you, you know, you can gather everybody up and say, what do you want to do, guys? And collectively, we've come to the decision. So I think we'll be good. We've had a good day so far, and the crew's done a good job, so we'll be good.
So you wanted to stay out. Steven wanted to come in. Everybody else voted to stay out, so you're going to do what?
Yeah, I can stay out. I can go a ways on fuel, and I got tires left, so I want to try and get off sequence with them. So I wanted to stay out, so I'm going to stay out.
Yeah, there you go. Steven Light, just 20 years old. He won the race at Kentucky earlier this season, the youngest winner in the Busch Series so far this year. But guys, he's just 20, so we got overruled in this one.
Well, I think that's a good decision staying out right now with all these cautions happening to keep these cars up front. I believe that's what Steven needed to do. And I can tell you one thing, as a driver, I used to try to make these decisions and mess them up all the time. So I like listening to the crew chief.
Well, and he's been out there 61 laps. That's the longest of anybody so far. So you can see that that's why they're sort of worried about this. We talked about it. They can go about 120, 130 on fuel. It's more tire wear, the issue regarding these guys today. So we'll see what happens as Steven Light stays out. Okay, so Carl Edwards had come in. He's a lap down, took care of some more business, inspected on everything. So the championship not over, but Carl not in a position right at this moment to be able to clinch it here at Memphis.
Well, right now Carl needs to spend all this time like he just did working on the car to try to get it, you know, competitive. It looks like he needs to work a little bit more in that right front corner. Looks like he's got clearance on the left front fender, clearance on the back of the car. And they're just going to have to find out now, Randy, how much that damage is going to hurt him. Now he's coming down and working on it again.
You heard him earlier say he moved the steering wheel. So what happens is your toe gets knocked out. You know, and if it's towed out, Rusty, at a short track like this, it doesn't hurt you as bad. If it's towed in, boy, you can't drive these race cars.
Well, of course, Carl has been in the news an awful lot this past week because of what happened with teammate Matt Kenseth. So he's had a lot of pressure to deal with just besides that and the championship. We talked to him.
I don't really have any room for extra pressure in my life. I don't, you know, I've put pressure on myself from day one, you know, no matter what I was racing in. And I have a certain amount that I let myself feel, and anything beyond that, I don't really, you know, I don't really let in. So the idea that we could win all these things and it could be so great, that's great. That's a great goal, but I try really hard not to let that affect, you know, my racing and not to let it affect me personally. But it is, you know, I think about it a little bit, but I got to be careful how much I think about it.
And Carl gets some more work done on his car, pulls back out onto the racetrack. And again, we'll point out he is one lap down and not in the lucky dog position. That would go to Brian Keselowski, Brad's older brother. And take a look, we mentioned it a little earlier, his last two races have been his worst. The only two DNFs of the season for Carl.
Well, you know, not because they haven't run good. They were leading Charlotte when he come in and he says, okay, I want to make this car better. Pull a rubber out of the right rear, you know, and they got it involved in a wreck. So the car's been running great, just he's had some bad luck.
Well, accidents and bad luck and things like that is what's caused him to plummet from leading the Owners' Championship all the way down to third right now. Thank goodness for him, he's still holding on to the Drivers' Championship at this point.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the pace car. The lights are out. You know what that means? We're going to go back to green flag racing.
Man, I wonder if those wailing lights, they're going to come back on. They're going to have to charge up batteries in those wailing lights.
Oh, if they turn back on and make me a liar, I am not going to be a happy camper.
Oh, Marty, guess what? They just turned it back on.
Oh.
We got a pickup truck out in front of the pace car.
All right. Well, let him race too. What the heck? Come on. All right, the lights are back on. Sorry, folks, got excited for nothing.
Marty, I think, you know, as a driver, when they had the red flag and they got to sit there for a while and think and calm down a little bit, this might help. You know, Randy,
no, not necessarily, because it doesn't say, okay, who hit me? Who was the last guy to hit me?
Well, and Carl mentioned something that we talked about back in Countdown. Tires being cold.
That's right.
He pointed out it takes about 10 laps for these things to heat up, and I think maybe nobody's remembering this, and they're just, you know, having trouble.
Soft tires.
I'm hoping that the tempers are going to cool down and the tires are going to stay hot. We need some grip out there, but we need some cooler tempers right now.
All right, let's reset it for you. Right now, Steven Light is your race leader. Marcus Ambrose, our pole sitter, is in second. Jason Keller is third. Jamie McMurray fourth. Danny O'Quinn runs fifth. Now, a lot of these guys are still going to have to make stops. We have people all over the board on pit sequence. You're just going to have to roll with us on this, folks. We'll point them out to you as they peel off. But remember this, the race leader, Steven Light, of all the guys, other than Danny O'Quinn, he also pitted at lap 75. Everybody else has at least 20 laps more than those two cars as we get ready to finally go go back to green flag racing here on lap number 140 at Memphis. Please, guys, no crashes. Bouncing down that back straightaway. So far, so good. Can we make it through 3 and 4? Dario Franchitti hung out on the outside there.
And Marty, going into turn 3, that looks to be the problem area. They're all stacking up back there again. No caution flag yet, but they were all over each other.
That's Brandon Miller, and boy, Dario is getting past. Now the 22 of Mike Bliss going under him. On board with Jason Leffler. He is right behind those two. And look at the sun beginning to become a factor going down that back straightaway.
That's going to hurt these guys going down into 3 here in a little bit.
Yeah, because nobody, I think, planned for a sun visor effect going into that, because we thought we'd be done by now.
Dario's kind of hung out to dry on the outside, we call it. Not much grip on the outside of the track right now, and he's trying to get back in front of the FedEx car right there.
That's J.J. Yaley, and he's got the inside line going down into 3. That's David Reagan right behind. If Dario can't get back into line, get back to the low line, he could be losing a lot of spots here.
Well, they call that being freight train. When you get hung on the outside the racetrack, you can't get back to the bottom. You see David Reagan going by. Now Stephen Wallace going by.
Welcome to the NASCAR Busch Series. Nobody is going to let him back in. Steven's going to try and do the same number on him going down into 3.
This is where patience, I mean, this is where I think he's going to get back in line. He has to be very, very, you know, when you're on the outside and you want to get in, and your patience runs very thin.
Well, Steven cut him a break right there and let him pull down in front of him, get him back to the bottom of the racetrack, and it was a good move. I like how he let him do that. I'm thinking, come on, son, help the kid out.
That's right.
But he has dropped all the way back to his lowest position, Vince Welch. He's back to 14th.
One of the things that really hits home when you listen to the spotter and the communication with the driver during a situation like that where Franchitti's getting freight trained is how important the spotter is at a racetrack like this. Lauren Ranier is the spotter for Franchitti in the 42 today, on the radio almost non-stop with Dario, particularly during that last session, making him aware of where drivers are coming up as you see another caution out.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 47 of Kelly Byers managed to turn it around in the exit of turn 2. It doesn't look like he's done too much damage, but guess what? We have now tied the record for cautions here at Memphis at 16. So just when we thought we might get a little more legs underneath us, another caution flag comes out here at Memphis Motorsports Park.
One thing I was noticing during that run, the 99 car, he couldn't get away from the 29 car. Those guys are locked in. The 99 car, Ruderman has been able to pull away from a lot of guys, and right there in that run, the 29 was on his bumper.
But right now, Marty, it looks like the 90 car, Stephen Lyda said, hey, enough's enough. I got to get this thing down pit road, put some tires on it, get some gas on it. Vince?
They're going to do just tires and fuel here. They're pretty happy with the way the car is handling. Of course, they haven't had many green flag runs, long green flag runs to experience it, but just tires and fuel for the 90. And we spoke a moment ago with Bruce Cook. This is his first time as the crew chief on this car. He had been the car chief. Cully Barraclaw had been the crew chief, but he'd moved over to the 88. So it's the first time for Cook running it from up top on the box, and his driver's having a good day.
And as he pulls back out, several other cars come in. We should point out a break for Carl Edwards. Before the yellow came out, he was able to get around Brian Keselowski. The significance, that makes Carl the Aaron's lucky dog this time. So he will be back on the lead lap. We'll have 32 cars on the lead lap when we go back to green flag racing. Carl Edwards will be 32nd, and there are the points as of right now. The magic number again is the key, 585 or more, and it's Carl's championship. And right now, David Ruderman is still alive.
Well, another good break for Carl Edwards, getting the lucky dog, get back in the lead lap, and right now it's just get the car handling good, Randy. Make sure this thing is where he needs to have it so he can race himself back up in the field. And I know he wants to leave this race with the championship so bad. He don't want this thing to go on to Texas and on to Phoenix and on.
Well, you know what? It's better than, you know, having to wait to the last lap of the last race. You know, when you can lock something up 3 to go. I mean, my first championship, I had to go, 10 to go at Miami, the last race of the year before I won the championship. You didn't know who was going to win it. And, it was nice enough the second year to lock it up at Rockingham.
All right, as you see Carl pulling in for some more work, we can update you on Marcus Ambrose. Our pole sitter has now moved into the race lead here on lap number 148, and Alan Bestwick has more.
You know, Marty, these races are moving targets, and as the events of the day unfold, teams have to adjust their strategy. Crew Chief Greg Connor for Marcus Ambrose has adjusted his strategy. They pitted back at lap 95. We're one of the very few cars to pit at that point. Most of the others leaders pitted at lap 119. They stayed on the track. They've stayed out on the track now. I just spoke with Greg a second ago. I said, are you good to go the rest of the way on fuel? He said, not yet. We were planning on stopping once more, but the more caution laps we get, the closer we get to being able to stay out. Right now, we're about 15 caution laps away from making the finish on fuel, and if I get to that window, why do I want to get back in all that mess?
Good point. Very good point. As we are down to almost 100 laps. Don't forget, as we're under caution for the 16th time, hopefully it's going to be a lot easier at Atlanta tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ABC. 4 races to go. The standings in the championship still up for grabs. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, obviously the front runners. But what about Clint Boyer? It all starts at 1 Eastern with NASCAR Countdown on ABC tomorrow. You may get there in time for the start, Rusty.
I just might. Marty, I got to tell you one thing. We're talking about Clint Boyer in the top 2. Well, I can tell you one thing. Tony Stewart thinks he's still in this thing. And as a driver, you tell me I'm out of it? I don't like that.
No, they're going to be gassing it up.
Well, as we look back through the field, hey, we've got a modified.
A couple of them.
Couple. Oh, God. It's been that kind of day, folks. A lot of cars damaged. We're going back to green flag racing here on lap number 150. Only 100 to go. Could we please make a long run? Marcus Ambrose pulling away.
Finally, after 150 laps, he started on a pole. He leads a lap.
Under green flag conditions, Jason Keller in 2nd place. It's Jamie McMurray 3rd, and here comes David Rudeman, the 99 in 4th.
You know, guys, Marcus has had a fast car all through practice. He obviously got the pole position, but Randy's, they haven't had enough time to really, like we talked earlier, to find out if he's got a good car or not. This might be the time now where he gets some clean air. We'll see how strong he really is.
On board with Rudeman. Everybody hugging that low line. There's Wimmer in 5th. All right, let's get an update right now on David Rudeman and what's going on with fuel strategy, Vince.
Just spoke with Jerry Baxter, the crew chief, a moment ago, and he said we are very, very close. And he even came on the radio and spoke with Rudeman about it and told him we're right on the edge as far as fuel. But Baxter told me we're not coming in, we're staying out. So he's still got quite a bit of distance to go, almost 100 laps, as you mentioned. But right now they say they can go to the end, but they're hoping they can go to the end. The fingers are crossed here at the 99 box.
Well, you got to remember the last time they pitted was lap 119. That means they're going to go all the way to lap 250 on a tank of fuel.
Well, he's got to roll the dice right now. He can't afford to get back in that mess right now and try to get all the way up to the front with as many caution flags we've had right now. So probably a good decision to roll the dice and go for the fuel mileage.
How do you save fuel when you're trying to run the 2 guys down in front of you?
Well, you know there's going to be more cautions.
Yeah.
And you're going to use those cautions for fuel mileage.
Give you an update on Carl Edwards as you continue to see all this. We'll tell you that Carl has now moved up to the 28th position. Remember, he was 32nd just a few laps ago. Meanwhile, Marcus Ambrose, there he comes past the start-finish line. Give you an idea how far back Carl is in the field. He's working his way through. Great job by the camera guys as they sneak up. And there's Stephen Wallace as he continues to come around, and Steven is right behind Carl in 29th position. There's Carl, and it gives you an idea just how much ground he still has to make up.
Well, they've all pitted right now. Carl Edwards, Stephen Wallace, the rest of them, they're trying to work their way back up to the field right now. They all got pretty good cars, but right now with 94 laps to go, I believe it was the right decision. I'm pretty comfortable that Rudeman staying out, Randy, was the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
Let's get an update on Carl Edwards' situation from Alan Bestwick.
He's reported back to the crew on what the cars do and asked them how many more sets of tires they had left. And then he said, to paraphrase, he said, well, let's try and make something out of this. Let's see what we can do. They're back on the lead lap. They're hoping for the race to stay green for a little while. Carl feels like his car is better than a lot of these guys that are right in front of him now. And he can gain some ground, then maybe catch a caution and close back up on the front runners.
Well, he's now running 26 as he gets around Brian Clausen, so that picks him up another position. Next on his hit parade, will be the 10 of Brent Sherman.
Right now, guys, I've been watching the lap times the last 4 or 5 laps here. And the top 5 guys are running within a half a tenth of a second, so they're really not getting away from each other. The front 5 are.
Really, the top 3. I mean, 1, 2, 3. They've been running about the same lap time. Rudiman's just a tick quicker.
Uh-oh. Right here, front of you. Get it slow down. Go high, go high, go high. All right, we're good, we're good. Yellow is up.
Still staying green. There is no yellow. You better keep the pedal in the metal. As now we have a car up into the wall. It's Brad Coleman up in turn number 1. Will that bring the caution out? He keeps going.
We are still green flag. NASCAR's trying to keep this thing running. Now Coleman gets down on the bottom of the racetrack, and the caution's out again now, guys.
Yeah,
so
Brad's got trouble as the right front has gone down. He is sparking deeply, and that reminds me of the truck race when Rick Corelli had similar situation, but he was at full song, and remember, he went right into the wall, and that was before the days of the safer barrier, and he had a huge crash down there in turn number 3.
Yeah, those throttles that hang open on these cars, you know, I had a modified hang open on me one time in Thompson, Connecticut, and man, you know, these safer barriers, I wish every racetrack in the United States could go to these things, because boy, they are definitely a lot better.
Tires shredding on that right front, and Brad's got to try and nurse it back in. So had a good car early in the race, but right now, as we set a record with our 17th caution, things have gone south for the 18. Take a look at this whole freight train of incidents.
well, you see the 25 car slide up the racetrack. Richard Johns just drove in real deep trying to slow it up. Slows up a little too quick and gets hit in the back. And the whole thing happens, and here we go again.
Well, and then I think what happened is Brad didn't realize he had a tire going down because he had the contact, and there he goes. It's just heading straight for the wall.
And right in front of our Carl Edwards, our 60 car, trying to get back up the front, right in front of our points leader. Could have got taken out again. I mean, Carl's just dodging things all day long. He got in one of them, gotten back to the front right now. He's picked up a lot of spots. He's up to 24th right now from starting dead last and back into about 38th again from the crash and getting there.
And it helps David Rudiman because he wants to stay out, needed a few more laps of caution to help that fuel situation.
Same thing with Marcus Ambrose. Marcus Ambrose said we need about 15 laps of caution, and they're not going to pit. And you know what? David's going to have his work cut out to pass those guys.
Well, let's talk about this because Marcus Ambrose, Jason Keller, first and second, last pitted on lap 95. Rudiman, Wimmer, Mike Bliss, that's third, fourth, and fifth. They all pitted at lap 119. And if Rudiman's worried about fuel, how can you go from lap 95 with Ambrose and Keller?
You do it with caution flags and gaining fuel mileage, Marty, because of it. And one guy we haven't talked a lot about, the 29 car of Wimmer. This car's been pretty fast. It's another car we've been watching the speeds of, and he can absolutely win this race if he gets some track position. Randy, he's flying out there.
Well, Wimmer in fourth right now. He is the only driver to finish in the top 10 in all 5 short track races this season.
Here top 5. Yeah, that's right.
Running fourth.
And he had a chance of winning a couple races and a couple. I'm not sure what happened, but there was races that he was strong. They'd led laps, and either a bad pit stop or something, they chucked him out of the lead.
And he won here in 2002, his only short track victory.
And Marty, you know one thing? He has no damage on that car. Not a scratch on it.
That took care of it.
It's not done yet, though.
All right, if Richard Childress is listening, I am sorry. Yeah. I did not mean to jinx him by saying no damage, but he doesn't. Alan?
The other thing he has besides no damage, Rusty, no plans to pit under this caution. So Wimmer's going to take over the race leading, depending on what Rudiman does, because I look to see Marcus Ambrose pit. Jason Keller's crew chief just told me they are going to have to stop one more time, but now they seem to be waffling on whether they're going to pit here. So Wimmer could move up as high as second, maybe even the lead, depending on what happens right in front of him here.
Well, Alan, I got to believe there's so many caution flags out here right now. The strategy is all over the board. Should you pit? Should you not? I think the guys are worried about getting stuck in the back.
That's right. I don't think any of the leaders are going to pit. They might run out of fuel, but they're not going to pit.
As you continue to see the sun set in the west, we are still under yellow. Our 17th caution for 80 laps of 164. And as we take a look, we have 30 cars on the lead lap right now here at race number 32, and you can tell it's getting a little cooler. Kevin Moss has put on a sweatshirt down in the starters fight, and I'm surprised he was able to lift that right arm to get a drink. He's been waving it so much this day with yellows and greens. Thought that baby'd be worn out by now.
Is it in you?
Yeah. And he just took another break. He's gone. He says, "Oh, you guys just do this on your own." So as we come close to the top of the hour, yeah, we were supposed to be done by now. Welcome to Memphis Motorsports Park here in Memphis, Tennessee. It's race 32 of 35 on the NASCAR Busch Series. And I'm Marty Reed along with Rusty Wallace, Randy LaJoie, Alan Beswick, Shannon Spake, and Vince Welch. And we've had a season high and a record setting here at Memphis, 17 cautions today.
I would have never predicted that one, guys. But we were supposed to be off air today at 5 o'clock Central Time. It's 5 o'clock now, and we've got 86 laps to go. So, folks, settle into your couch. Grab a cold iced tea.
That's right.
And get ready for 86 more.
Jimmy's digging deep in the record book. The most cautions ever in the Busch Series, April of 1992 back at Hickory, 26. And the same year, the most caution laps at 132. So that gives you an idea. We are at 17 with 81 laps under caution. So it's not the worst, but it's darn close.
You ever see Hickory? That place is small.
I started to say, Randy, those guys at Hickory better not look back because we're chasing them.
You ain't kidding.
We might catch them.
As we take a look at the field as we move on back through, let's get to 14th position. And there's the 42 of Dario Franchitti. What are they going to do as far as pit strategy, Vince?
About that, right? There's a bit of discussion about that right now between Chip Ganassi and Tony Glover, kind of arguing back and forth about whether or not they can pit. Dario Franchitti says the car is really tight through the center, but they came on with Glover and said, "I don't think we can afford to bring you in because we're going to lose so much track position." Chip Ganassi's playing devil's advocate, saying, "I think we've got enough racing left to where if we got the car right, we'd have enough time out on the track to make up those positions." But right now, as you see, Franchitti's still on the track, and they haven't quite made that decision just yet.
I like what Chip Ganassi just said. Chip Ganassi, he doesn't care. He's just trying to get, some time for Dario Franchitti. Get him a good car, get back up to the front. That's what I would do.
Let's go to Alan Beswick as Marcus Ambrose comes in.
Yeah, it gives up the race lead for 4 tires, an adjustment, and fuel, and a very lonely pit stop for this 59 car, as not many of the other cars on the racetrack have come down pit road. But Greg Conner saying there's just too many laps they need on fuel to take a chance on it. So here they are. They'll pull the windshield tear off and send Marcus back out way in the back of this field.
Yeah, we'll have to sort it out, see where he ends up. It could be as low as 30th, depending on where he blends back into the field. That's how many cars we have on the lead lap. It means Jason Keller has taken the lead here at Memphis. Will he be able to hold on? Stay with us. Find out. Welcome back to the Samstown 250 at Memphis Motorsports Park as we go back to green flag racing here on lap 169 of 250. Out in front, Jason Keller, followed by David Rudiman, Scott Wimmer, Mike Bliss, and Jamie McMurray.
And take a look at Mike Bliss on the outside, getting a big run on the outside on Scott Wimmer. And these guys are trying to get all they can on these restarts. 81 laps to go. I know it's a lot, but they're trying to get that track position.
You ain't kidding. Wimmer looking to the inside of David Rudiman.
That was the onboard view from Rudiman out the back, and there he holds on to the spot, and they pull back in the line. The backstretch there in shadows now, and then they're going to get blasted by the sun right as they go into turn 3. But pretty soon the trees may shade that entire corner. Look at 4. It's totally in the shade.
Well, this track is changing big time now, guys. It's getting pretty cool here. The temperatures here at Memphis, which is to make the cars handle a lot different.
Well, these guys' last practice, Rusty, last night was in the same time. It was even darker than this.
We heard a little while ago Dario Franchitti coming across the radio and saying, look, my car's getting real tight. The handling's changing, and Randy, he's back in the pack now. Is that causing it?
Well, you know what? It's not helping at all, that's for sure.
Got a battle for the race lead. Here comes David Rudiman underneath Jason Keller, and he makes it look easy.
Cool paint job right there, isn't it?
So put Rudiman, as he has now led 113 laps, retakes the lead from Jason Keller, who had led only 7. And of course, if you remember and were with us yesterday, it was David not making the field in Atlanta for the Nextel Cup race. So he does have something burr under his bonnet, shall we say, as he wants to prove something here.
And Marty, David Rudeman said part of his negotiations was re-signing with Michael Waltrip is that he really wanted to run the Busch Series. He's learned a lot from it. He loves it. And you know, every time he gets into Michael's number 99 car here, guys, he just flies. He looks really good in that car.
That's right, Rusty. This race team has been together for 4 years. And you know yourself, anytime you can keep your team together for 4 years, golly, it's just a pleasure to work with, because the right hand knows what the left hand's doing.
Well, but here's one of the things that you find hard to believe. In that span, David's yet to win in the Busch Series. His best finish has been second. That came back at Nashville this April.
Absolutely.
So he's looking for his first win. And he has opened up a bit of a gap, about 3/4 of a second. Oh, and another crash. That's Mike Wallace sideways. Here comes another car around. It's Carl Edwards as he tries to avoid it again. Several other cars spin in this mess, and the yellow is out for the 18th time.
Calm down. All right, no talking right now. We're going to pit when the pits are open.
And nobody could see anything out there. There was so much smoke in the front straightaway. Carl just couldn't get slowed down. He spun. Vision was terrible.
Let's take another look.
Cale Gale gets in the back of Mike Wallace, spins him. See Brad Keselowski going around. And now it's just solid, blocking the track with smoke.
Franchitti made it through, and there is Carl. Carl, I think, just did an evasive move, just trying to keep from getting swept up. Managed to miss everybody. Mike Wallace is on board. Mike's wondering what the heck happened. I don't know.
He lost rear grip because his tires are off the ground.
Yeah. Wants to know who it was. All right, on board with Cale. Mike's not going to like Cale.
Well, you know who's behind you.
Take one more look.
Well, guys, nobody's just giving anybody any room whatsoever today. There's no patience going on at all. And you saw the 9-car Chase Miller get in the back of Carl Edwards and spin him. Just a slight bump, and he doesn't have hardly damage. Carl does. You see the left rear quarter panel. Randy, that's not going to hurt the car.
Wait a minute. That's an oxymoron, dude. You realize? I mean, he's got so much damage from all the other wrecks. How could you tell?
Not from this one. It's not going to hurt any more than what he's already been hurt. So
absolutely.
I think he'll be just fine now.
Oh, golly. On board with David Rudeman as he's trying to keep heat in the tires. Poor Carl, nothing to laugh at really for him. I mean, he is trying to put this championship to bed, and every time he tries to get back into it, something else happens right in front of him. The point differential right now is 531, and that's far short of the magic number.
Absolutely.
And that's because David Rudeman is doing everything he has to keep his championship hopes alive. And that's by running up front. Think about this. I mean, I'm not trying to jinx this thing, and Carl still has a huge lead, but it's got to start playing on you if you have 3 bad races in a row. And here comes Jason Keller as he's coming in, and also Jason Leffler. Shannon?
That's right. Jason Leffler and his crew chief back and forth. Should we come? Should we not? They decided to give up the track position for fresh tires. Jason says the car's a little tight. They're going to make a chassis adjustment and air pressure. Alan.
Really solid race for this Jason Keller team today. Running in second when they give up the track position a bit here. He said he needs help to be able to run harder off the corner. So a track bar adjustment. See the wrench in the rear corner of the window on the right side of the car, and a 4-tire change. Here's a team that's brand new this year and trying to settle their future out. Of course, Jason getting an opportunity with this team to break that Tommy Houston record, and now we'll see what kind of track position they've just given up.
Jason's first race, Lanier Speedway, April 1991. He has 10 career wins, and as Alan pointed out, broke the record for starts in the series. This is number 419. Let's check in with Vince Welch.
The big question has been whether the 99 has enough fuel to get to the end. Crew Chief Jerry Baxter has been pleading with David Rudeman during these yellows. Save me as much as you can during these yellows. This last yellow, he came through and told Rudeman, I think we're 3 laps to the good, but save the fuel as much as you can just in case, but I think we're all right. I'm not sure he had a lot of conviction in that statement to David Rudeman, but I think he was trying to convince the driver that they were going to make it to the end.
Maybe he was just trying to convince himself.
Absolutely.
All right, take a look at the fuel windows, and gives you an idea.
Marty, I can tell you one thing. These guys are going to make it on field. There's no problem right now. They've had enough caution flags to give them a little bit of margin right there. Randy, and the top 3 guys are pretty even on fuel right now. I don't believe it's going to be a problem whatsoever there. And these caution flags have really helped them out on that. Alan, what's going on with that 29 car?
Well, RW, there's one thing you have to consider when you talk about all these caution flags, and that is overtime. A green-white checkered finish. I just talked to Pat Smith, crew chief for Scott Wimmer. He said, oh yeah, we've got fuel to make the finish. Now we're working on getting enough fuel to make a green-white checkered if we have one. And certainly that would be a high possibility today, don't you think?
Well, Alan, you just threw a monkey wrench in the deal. I was hoping you wouldn't say that, but you're absolutely right. That can happen unless we have some more cautions.
Well, you're right. You know, this is going to be interesting here because the last green flag, you know, 29 got a little bit better than a 99 on that start. So we'll see when we go back to green if the 29 can catch that 99.
Well, all this talk on fuel. For more information on fuel, log on to ESPN.com. Your search word is know-how. So the lights are out on the pace car as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. It'll be the conclusion of our 18th caution. 90 laps have been run under caution. We have 180 in the books.
Evened it up.
That's almost funny. I'm trying to keep from laughing at that number.
I know. It's okay. Here we go. I think. Pace car is off. David Rudiman in front of Scott Wimmer. Mike Bliss, Jamie McMurray, and J.J. Yaley has moved up to 5th. Sun continues to set, and the green flag flies again here at Memphis.
Now, this is the first time, guys, that the 29 car Scott Wimmer's really been up there in a position to battle for the lead. And right now, we have to see how he's doing because this car has been fast throughout the day. And he's really handling good. Sucking right on the bottom of the racetrack, Randy, through both corners, and that's the preferred line.
Absolutely right. You know, but yesterday I watched Mark Green in that 99 car. And boy, these guys got a nice setup for this racetrack.
And one guy we can't think about, Marty, either is a 26 car, Jamie McMurray. And this Jack Roush Ford. Kenny Wallace practiced and qualified this car. And it looks like he's got this thing really handling good for Jamie.
Yeah, he's moved it up into the 4th position and is in contention right now. And let's take a look. We've got more problems as another caution flag is out. And
unreal.
Yeah, I think that's about the way to describe it. Unreal is the whole day. Bobby East gets turned around this time. As with 67 laps to go, we're now up to 19 cautions.
That was just the old Slinky closing up. I was watching that, and there was a bunch of guys, and they went in there, and they just all got together, and the guy in the middle went around.
Well, you know, the Slinky closing up you're talking about, Randy, you get down into turn 3 and they all start checking up. Look at this run, and he's locking the left front brakes up. The 43 car of Bobby East.
He's trying to slow for Franchitti, and then right behind him is Stephen Wallace. Stephen gets into him a little bit because he can't get slowed down. It's that chain reaction, just what you were talking about.
Well, you know, that goes back to what Dario says. Dario says, hey, I'm tight in the center. You know, did he cause that? You know, I mean, he didn't cause it, but he did because he's so tight in the center. The guys behind him had a better run through the center.
And Carl Edwards almost got taken out again in that incident right there. Carl went around the top side, cleared everybody. And he's probably thinking, man, I can't believe it.
Well, take a look. Carl Edwards is back in the top 15. That's right. He's moved back to 15th. Stay with us. We're going to take a break. The NASCAR Busch Series at Memphis brought to you by Crown Royal Blended Canadian Whiskey. It's not about quality. It's about quality, not quantity. Back here at Memphis Motorsports Park, sun continues to set. We think we're going to get this one in before it goes completely down. We are working our 19th caution for 94 laps. And everybody is getting the signal that it'll be 1 to go this time by. It's David Rudiman out front. He's led 128 laps so far. We've actually had 6 different leaders, 9 lead changes, but most of those have been courtesy of the multiple cautions. Take a look at the championship because Carl Edwards is now in 15th position. So his magic number still, as we pointed out, is 585. It's 561. Between Edwards and Rudiman at this stage of the race with 63 laps to go. And there's what's left of Carl's number 60, Scott's Ford. There are very few cars that look the way they did when they rolled off the trailer.
This is true. I think the front two. The front two are the only ones that don't have any kind of damage on them. As of right now.
Getting ready to go back to green flag racing.
Green flag, green flag. Take a left and outside. Clear by two, clear by two. Got another one coming out. Still out there. Still there. Clear about 5. 38's right with you. That's two.
And immediately you can see the top two try and pull away, Ruderman and Wimmer. Bliss is in third. That fourth car in line is a lap down. That's Cale Gale. And then you move back to McMurray in fourth.
99 car strong. It pulls away.
Yeah, he's been the class of the field all day. It's just a matter of getting to the finish line now. Does he have enough fuel? Because they've made the call. They're going to stay out.
Well, yeah, I think they've only had 31 laps of green since his last pit.
31 laps of green. His last pitted, folks, at lap 119, to give you an idea how few laps we've been running under green between cautions. Guy we got to give a tip of the hat to. Look at the 59 there at the right side of your screen, Marcus Ambrose. Remember when he pitted earlier and we all questioned whether that was a good move? Oh, there we go around again.
Stand behind, just the left side. Stand behind you. Caution down, caution down. You got him. Well, yeah, I'm all right. What in the hell was that? Go down to the fucking 40.
Well, we apologize for the radio communication. The tempers are obviously starting to really flare. Brandon Miller wondering what the heck is going on. He got turned and into the wall. So that brings out our 20th caution.
And Dario Franchitti's got some damage on the right front of his car. Guys, it looks like he got in there pretty hot, deep in the core, and got into the left rear quarter panel of the 77 car, way deep in there. Just couldn't get that car stopped. And I can guarantee you, he didn't mean to do that one, but he was driving a little too hard right there, Randy. That car's not going to stop at a speed like that, that's for sure.
He was going to have to make that corner.
Well,
8 tires corner better than 4.
All these caution flags right now. He's getting 42 cars getting penalized for rough driving, but yeah, it's a NASCAR decision. But I can tell you, he couldn't get that car to stop, that's for sure.
Well, he's going to get the call to the hauler at the end of the race, and so he'll get his first visit of that. Let's get an update from Vince on the 42.
That's exactly why he is having trouble in the corner, because he can't stop the car. He said the brakes, when he pushes the brake pedal, it doesn't stop. So they're telling him you're going to have to pump them a little bit more. But that's exactly what happened, Rusty. Just as you said, he drove it way too deep in the corner. But the reason he did is because he had no brakes once he got there.
Yeah,
so they're going to bring it in and obviously do some cosmetic changes there in the front.
Well, Vince, there's been so many caution flags right now. These brakes are getting heat soaked. These guys are using the brakes a lot. And I know Dario, he was not going to do that. This guy's trying to learn. But you know what? He got in the back of the 77 car of Brandon Miller. And a lot of guys are getting punished today and getting 1-lap penalties for rough driving. So, hey, he's got to do it. Dario's got to pay the penalty. Probably shouldn't have driven a corner that hard.
You know, NASCAR, they're going to be here all night with all the guys that go into the trailer.
Well, they'll probably end up calling us to the trailer, too, for all we know.
I just think of the wealth of experience Dario Franchitti's getting here. He's getting short track experience. Chip Ganassi and Felix Abad have been running them all over the place in trucks, trying to get the guy a lot of experience, and he's learned a lot.
He's going to run the last 4 Busch races, they say.
Yeah, the plan is now for him to continue out the rest of the season in the Busch Series and see how well they can do getting him ready for Nextel Cup action next year.
Marty, when we talked to him, you know, yesterday, he was saying one of the things he's having to get used to, Indy cars, everything happens so fast. They can run around Richmond, a 3/4-mile racetrack similar to this. He goes, you look at the next corner and you're there.
Well, Randy, these Indy cars, 1,535 pounds,
correct,
okay, compared to 3,500 pounds, or 3,400 pounds, I'm sorry, of a NASCAR Busch Series car. So the braking power is not near as good, and that's one thing that Dario's going to have to get used to.
Yeah, went to school right there.
Yeah, when the brakes go south on this car, it's a lot different than that Indy car, and you know, it's one of those things you put in the bank. But before this moment, he had really a great run going today. It was as high as second place. In fact, take a look at the right-hand side of your screen as he makes it through this crash. There's the 88 of Brad Keselowski through the smoke. There he is on the lower portion of your screen, sneaking through, and that's our Castrol Syntec Power and Performance Pass of the race.
Earlier on, we heard that we heard the spotter saying to him, okay, stay high, stay high, stay high. Go low, go low. I mean, like, okay, great moves. Like, well, you know, obviously he's seen something that the spotter didn't, and he committed himself, and he didn't hit nothing until then.
Well, and he's going to miss his goal. He said to us before the race started he wanted to finish on the lead lap, just get as much experience as he could. He's now one lap down.
He'll get that back.
Well, I bet he never thought there was going to be 20 caution flags for now 99 laps. So this is a real peculiar race going on here today at Memphis, something that NASCAR Busch Series hasn't seen in a long, long time. So I don't think you can judge Dario's performance off of today's actions.
Well, and I'm sure he'll go over to Brandon and talk to him about what happened in the car. Obviously, he didn't mean to do it, and he'll get things squared away.
Well, we've seen this happening all day long, Marty, out of a lot of drivers, and there's a bunch of good drivers out there, and I think they're all learning that the cars don't stop. They're sliding all over. The tires are cold. And I think every one of them who goes to bed tonight is probably going to think, you know what, there's a time during the race I overdrove this car, and I shouldn't have done it.
Absolutely.
Well, while all this continues, of course, Dario comes over from the IndyCar Series, an Indy 500 winner. Take a look at the Indy 500 winners in NASCAR. Jacques Villeneuve ran at Talladega. Buddy Lazier at Las Vegas. Juan Pablo Montoya, of course, has 2 wins, one in Cup, one in Busch, both on the road courses. Sam Hornish Jr., 6 Busch Series starts. He's not been successful. He missed again yesterday at Atlanta trying to qualify for his first Cup race.
Yeah, it's a matter of time, though. He'll get there.
And, of course, Dario making his debut in the Truck Series and now in the Busch Series. And let's check in with Vince Welch.
And with Tony Glover, the crew chief on the 42. Are you being penalized, Tony?
Yeah, they're holding us a lap for, I guess, aggressive driving. And what really happened, the brake pedal started going down, and, you know, he just went in the corner, didn't have any brakes.
All things considered, what's been your impression of Dario's run today?
He's done a great job so far. You know, unfortunately, we got into 77. I hate that, but, you know, certainly he didn't mean to. Again, he just lost his brake. The brake pedal went down. So try to get her to the end, try to get her lap back.
Marty?
All right, thanks, Vince. We should point out Nextel Cup Happy Hour was going to be in this time slot. We were supposed to be done by 6 o'clock Eastern time, but it is going to be on at 12:30 a.m. tonight on ESPN2. That'll come from Atlanta. Apologize to everybody over there, but obviously we got to get this one done first, and we still have 54 laps to go, which will just about the rate we're going take us up to the top of the hour at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Marty, you think all these Indy guys that win the 500 are coming over here because you have to drink milk after those races? In the Busch cars, you get to have a cold beer.
Oh, now don't be going down that road. You're going to get yourself in a real tussle.
I mean, milk is good, you know. Maybe
yeah, there you go. That's it. Backpedal on me. Backpedal.
I'm staying out of that.
There are a lot of guys that would love to drink that milk Memorial Day weekend at Indianapolis. Back to this race now. We're getting ready to come back to green flag. We never did get a chance to finish Marcus Ambrose because right before we went yellow, remember when he pitted, fell all the way back from the lead to 24th? He is now 7th, guys, in that number 59, our pole sitter. So that stop turned out to be a good decision for these guys. He's got fresher tires than everybody else in front of him.
Speed-wise, he hasn't been able to keep up with the 99 now.
Well, we're going to find out as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. 52 laps to go.
Half back, single file. All around.
Well, right, Mike Bliss gets a good run on the outside of the lap car. Cale Gale down the back straightaway. And every single restart he hits that run, you think he's just going to pass him on outside and ducks back into the bottom. Because evidently just not enough bite on outside of the track.
Oh, and we don't make it again for another lap, and you saw the 42 of
Yellow's out. Right, we're in the lap. Okay, you're all clear if you get it fired. Track will be clear when you get there. Just look for debris.
And Franchitti can't get refired. Now he does.
You're all clear if you get it started.
And he gets his car started just in time before
I don't think
the
you have any
leader.
brakes, do you, bud?
Not the best. I mean, the guy in front just checks up, stops it in the middle of the corner, but I'm really struggling with the brakes.
Well, that's Dario's rating.
N4, did you hurt your tires?
I'm not sure.
It doesn't help them when you spin out, that's for sure.
No, let's take another look.
Coming in hot.
We'll see the problem's happening again with Dario. Gets in deep and can't get this car to stop. And now, this is 2 times in a row that Dario's had this problem. So he just needs to get to the back of the pack and finish this race and get some time under his belt, because obviously he can't drive the car as hard as he wants to, Randy.
Well, you know, IndyCar guys, they don't run brakes a whole lot. Steve Meal right there on the box. He just left DEI, and he's going to be an added bonus for Ganassi right there.
Yeah, just had to take advantage of that shot right there, Steve Meal. He's going to help that team a lot. Came over from Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Talking right there, Tony Glover. Those are 2 guys that have really run good in the NASCAR Next Cup circuit. Really a powerhouse in the sport. It's a good decision having these 2 paired together for Chip Ganassi and Felix Sabates. A lot of experience right there in that box.
Yeah, anytime you can get Glover or Steve Meal on your side, boy, I'll tell you what, Chip did a fine job in corralling him.
Right now, Tony Glover's probably talking to Dario, trying to calm him down, saying, look, don't push the car too hard. If you don't have brakes, you just can't race.
Other 4 back up.
Well, while we continue under our 21st caution, I know we didn't expect that many. Let's talk a little bit more about Dario. In fact, let's talk to Chip Ganassi about one of the reasons he went after Dario Franchitti for NASCAR action.
I think you got to catch a guy right at the right time in his career about when he's ready to make the move. Not so much me talking him into it as much as he's ready. And you know, I've obviously known Dario for a lot of years, and you know, I think he was just ready to make the move. I mean, we sort of tickled the waters a few years ago, or last year, before Juan came on board. We were talking to Dario about it a little bit, and then when Juan called up, it kind of blew him out of the seat. So he was, we stayed in contact, and things happen for a reason. He went on to win Indianapolis and win the championship. And like I said, things happen for a reason.
And that's some interesting insight, because if Juan Montoya doesn't call Chip Ganassi last year, Dario maybe makes that move, never wins the Indy 500, never wins the championship. How things happen.
Timing's everything, like he says.
Yeah.
And it really is. And here's a driver that's accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. He's got a championship. He's an Indianapolis 500 winner. I've been there, done that. Now let's move on. That's probably what he's thinking. I want to try NASCAR. NASCAR is one of the biggest sports in the world. I want to be involved in it.
He's just saying,
let's go, guys.
I want some better brakes on these cars.
That's what he's saying right now, isn't he?
Because we haven't had no green flag runs, Rusty. I mean, why should the brakes go away on that car?
Vince, you've got more?
Well, they took all the tape off the brake ducts, as Dario again reiterated that the brake is just going to the floor when he's trying to stop it. And as Rusty made the comment a moment ago, they need to just get him to the back of the pack. That's exactly what they're going to do after he gets back into the mix here.
And there you see him giving a little test of those brakes. Got up to speed a little bit going down in 3. See what kind of pedal he has.
I'm surprised they didn't open the hood and put the fluid in it.
All right, so while we got a chance, there's David Reagan. We haven't talked a whole lot about him, and he has managed to move up into the number 6 position right now. Shannon, what's going on with his car?
That's right. David Reagan, one of those double-duty drivers making the trip from Atlanta here to Memphis. He started in the back of the field because Augie Vidovich qualified his car, and like you said, he's moved all the way up to 6th. He told me that this is one of his favorite tracks, despite the fact that he only has 1 start here. His crew chief's just telling him to stay focused. And as we go to the restart, my question to the drivers up in the booth, Rusty and to Randy, how difficult is it to stay focused in a race like this?
Well, it's really hard to stay focused right now with all these cautions, but he's got to do it. He's doing a good job doing it, Shannon. Just got to get this car to the end right now. 46 laps to go.
Here we go. There is the 99 and the 29 moving, and here comes Bliss underneath the lap vehicle of Cale Gale. Jamie McMurray's going to follow, and so Cale will be hung out on the outside. There is the 42 of Dario Franchitti. He is in the mix of things. If the goal was to keep him back there, he's not doing it. Hang on. There's Leffler trying to go under him. A little more rubbing, and he's going to get a little bump there from
Still there. 60 following inside. Clear by the 61 back 10.
Yeah,
inside.
he's got flat.
Clear low, clear low.
He's going to have to come in again.
Left front tire.
Left front's down, Glove.
Guys, he just got roughed up there.
Yes, he did.
But he shouldn't have been up there. I mean, he was...
Welcome to NASCAR.
I don't know why they did that. With no brakes, him struggling to hold on, well, they just learned.
On board with J.J. Yaley right now. He is running in 5th, and it looks like McMurray is not able to keep up with the lead pack, and there are a bunch of cars trying to breathe down. And look at Marcus Ambrose with those fresher tires. Remember, he stopped a lot earlier than all these other guys in front of him. Oh, we got another spin, the 21 of McCready. With 43 laps to go, we are now up to 22 cautions here at Memphis.
These guys might be able to run a 500-mile race on fuel.
I believe we talked earlier, guys, the record for cautions was at Hickory, North Carolina. You said, Marty, at 26 cautions. We're up to 22. This is a modern day of NASCAR racing, and it's hard to believe we've reached this number. This is something I'll remember for a long time in broadcasting, that's for sure.
Look at these cars. If anybody can pick out a car that doesn't have damage, let us know.
There's 3, I think. The 99. It's the 29. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
The 6 car don't have no damage. That's 3.
We were talking about Marcus Ambrose and how he keeps working his way. Take a look here.
Got out to the apron.
Yeah, it looks like McCready got down the apron, actually hit the ripple strips down there, Randy, and spun the car. And was really closing her in the back of Chase Miller in the 9 car, and just locked the brakes up and also hit that apron and spun himself.
That's right, and then that's something there that you want to get as close as you can to that apron. But once you hit it with the left side tires, it unloads the chassis and it gets very, very free. Or you just spin out.
Yeah, we really do need to give a good shout out to David Reagan for the job he's doing today. I mean, a rookie, and with all these accidents today, he's done a good job in his car. Jack Roush did a great job hollering this fella. He's a good, smart driver.
All right, guys, while we've got a moment, we already told you that happy hour is going to be at 12:30. Coming up next here on ESPN2 will be college football primetime, and then we've got number 9 Kansas versus Texas A&M. Hopefully that's going to be no later than the top of the hour. We've got 41 laps to go here at Memphis. Let's check in with Alan Bestwick. I think he's caught up with Brandon Miller.
Yeah, by far the hardest crash we've seen all day. Brandon, you'd got the car up into the top 10, and then what happened?
Unfortunately, looks like the 42 got into the back of us, getting into 3. Just really unfortunate for Dollar General and Wally and all the boys at KHI that helped us out. Just a tough deal. We had a good car. We were working on it all day, but I got to thank Kevin and Delana for giving me the opportunity to come do this. And looks like we had a top 10 car. Just a bummer.
Thanks for the time. Brandon's one of these young guys trying to reestablish his future and find a ride full-time in this thing, and he had it in the top 10.
And we're looking at what happened to him, as we heard on the radio. Dario Franchitti said, I just didn't have any brakes, didn't mean to do it, but it was a hard enough hit to put Brandon on the trailer.
I really like that interview out of Brandon Miller. I mean, that's pretty classy.
Absolutely right.
You know, I'll tell you guys, you have a wreck with a driver out there, the last thing you want to do is get out and scream and holler and point fingers, because you know what? What goes around comes around. And I will promise you, you'll get in that position one time. And you don't want to get on live television and have that stuff talking about you.
That's right, but they also gave him a minute to cool off. If they would have grabbed him as soon as he come off that racetrack, boy, it might have been a little different.
And take a look as Stephen Wallace has moved into the top 10 now. He's up to 9th position. His best finish in the Busch Series, as you saw, 11th. So as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, 39 laps to go, and David Rudiman still in front. Scott Wimmer second, Mike Bliss in third. This is deja vu all over again. There's Cale Gale still trying to hang on. He's 1 lap down.
And right now, Carl Edwards has moved up into the 11th position, guys. Remember, we talked, he needs to finish 8th or better to get this championship. And with what's going on, and as fast as his car is coming through the field, that could happen. Now he's getting ready to pass Stephen Wallace. Stephen's in the 10th position. He's coming, guys. He could get this championship today.
He really could. There's enough time. He goes on the low side, trying to get underneath Stephen. There you are on board, coming out of 4. Doesn't have the magic number. Now notice Stephen told him, said, go ahead, take the corner.
And that was a smart decision out of Stephen. You got a faster car, take the inside, go ahead. I'm going to follow you through. And here comes Jason Keller, the number 11 car, coming on the inside of Stephen also. And boy, that turn 3 is the one that gets them in there. It's like a sucker turn.
Yes, it is.
Sucks them right down in there deeper than they want to go. And man, they crash.
There is Carl. He's got Jason Leffler right in front of him. That is Stephen Light in the 90 car on the right side. And meanwhile, we'll just tell you that Ruderman and Wimmer are sort of pulling away along with Brisk. McMurray really seems to be holding up this whole group behind him. These three guys have sort of checked out. There they are, first, second, and third, with 35 laps to go here at Memphis. And there's McMurray with a lot of guys trying to get around him.
That's right. And there's a lap car. Cal Gale is doing a great job right there. But you know, when it comes to a point where you got to let the next guy go, which he just did.
There's David Reagan. Look at Marcus Ambrose. Oh, got a little crossed up trying to get underneath the 20 car.
Has another car. Marcus Ambrose gets deep in the corner and roughs up this left side of the 20 car of J.J. Yaley.
Let's get an update on the 26 car. Vince?
Jamie McMurray has commented that the car has gone from free to loose, and they believe quite a bit of that might have to do with the weather. The shadows have now crept across almost in the entire part of the racetrack, and they have felt that the car has changed as the weather has changed. We feel that temperature's starting to dip down here trackside as well. So McMurray's car going away from him. He had hoped to challenge for the win. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case now.
While all that's going on, we'll tell you Carl Edwards has moved up to 9th. The magic position for him is 8th. If he finishes 8th or better, it doesn't matter if Ruderman wins this race. Championship done.
And right now, Keller's not giving it to Carl because Carl moved into 9th and Keller passed him back. And now Carl fell back in the 10th position. And there was a lot of swapping around going on between the 4th position and down in the 11th position. So these drivers are bumper to bumper. You see the Landon Castle getting in the corner right now. Ooh, awful close to Carl Edwards.
And that is 4th position. I mean, Castle is fighting it out for that 10th spot.
For an 18-year-old rookie, I tell you what, he's learning a lot, and he has a better car. And he's trying to dig.
Yellow's out, turn 4, turn 4.
Trying to see who it is. It looks like it's the 43 of Bobby East, the 16 of Colin Brown. So it is now our 24th caution on the track.
Tell you, poor old Bobby East has been in a lot of cautions today, but he's learned a lot, that's for sure. Kick Butt is his sponsor. Looks like he's got his butt kicked a lot today, that's for sure.
Well put. Let's take another look.
And they're all stacking up, Randy, just like you said, all day long.
That's right. Middle of 3 and 4, it's accordion, boy.
Yeah, it looked like Ron Young in the 71 was a little slower than East expected, and he just couldn't woe it down, and neither could the 16. And here's the end result. Caution number 23, I guess. Is it 23 or 20? 23. Okay, so, man, I'm losing track. I've run out of fingers and toes. I mean, I'm up to a calculator. Coming up next will be college football primetime. And then it'll be number 9, Kansas and Texas A&M. We want to remind you of that. And also remind you that Happy Hour will be seen at 12:30 on ESPN2. And there's some of the damage from this latest incident for Colin Brown.
Dr. Jerry Punch and Andy Petrie and his entire gang there at Atlanta did a great job covering Happy Hour today. We're just going to have to wait real late to see it.
That's right. Yeah. This is a happy 4-hour race.
Even with you flying back, I'm not sure you're going to make it in time.
Oh, I'll get back for late dinner. No problem, guys.
Look at this. This is a familiar scene. What's that promotion we have? Every lap counts. The guys are banging on the fenders. That's been done a lot today.
Absolutely right.
Well, right now, Carl Edwards is our chase contenders in 10th position.
He needs 2 more spots to guarantee the championship. It doesn't matter what David Ruderman does if Carl can pick up 2 more positions in the next 29 laps.
Well, you know it. The guy is racing, is leading the race, dominating the race today. It seems like it always happens that way. David Ruderman leading this thing. He's led a ton of laps today.
Ruderman has led 162 laps, and the driver leading the most laps has only won 2 of the 8 prior races here. And obviously he's got the most laps led clinched.
You know, they had a test session this year at Richmond, Virginia for the Busch Series. I watched David Ruderman go to that test session and noticed that his car, they learned something in that test session, Randy. The front of that car was real low. They got the coil binding set up worked out.
Yes.
And talking to David, he said that was a key test for him.
That's good. Anytime you can test, Rusty, you know, as a car owner, you know, it is just a major league plus. The only damage the 99 has on it was during qualifying when he slapped the wall.
All right, as we pan on back through, let's get an update on Carl Edwards running in the 10th position. Alan?
Well, Carl Edwards hoisting a NASCAR Busch Series championship trophy today, Marty, would certainly be a welcome positive headline for what has been a very difficult week for Carl. After he and Matt Kenseth got into it on the track in the Nextel Cup race at Martinsville last Sunday, there was a much publicized now, we'll call it confrontation between Carl and Matt after the race, where Carl certainly came off as the aggressor, appearing like he was going to punch Matt at one point. Carl, in his comments since then, has said he never was going to. He just wanted to get a reaction out of Matt. Talked with Carl before the race today. He's very much apologized for his role in that and said he would like to put it behind him, and he certainly learned a lot this week. A championship today would be a positive headline he'd sure like to have.
Certainly would, as we have 27 laps to go now, and David Ruderman still doing all he can to keep his slim championship hopes alive. Scott Wimmer also looking for his first win this year, right behind him in second place.
Looks like Wimmer just can't get enough laps under his belt right now to run down David Ruderman. And David at the moment just flat got a better car. That time by a 1/10 and a half faster than Scott Wimmer.
Well, and we still have to point out, our longest run under green flag conditions has been 19 laps today, guys.
And folks, if you're wondering how fast they go around this racetrack, the last lap, a 23.74 second lap, so it's pretty quick.
Oh, absolutely right.
Translates to about 116, 115 miles an hour.
I'm glad you said that, Marty, because us race drivers, used to be race drivers, talking seconds, not mile per hour.
That's right.
There's Marcus Ambrose, our pole sitter, and he has sort of been up to the 6th position now, but it seems to have flattened out a little bit for him as he was trying to fight his way back. He has the freshest set of tires of everybody in front of him on that racetrack, but there goes Jason Leffler in the 38 car back around underneath him.
You know, we talked earlier about how the track conditions are changing. It's almost starting to get dark here. The sun's starting to set down into turn 3, which is going to be right in these drivers' eyes. Randy going into turn 3, which is going to probably hurt things worse.
Let's get an update on Jason Leffler as, whoa, McMurray gives up another spot, and here comes Leffler.
Well, yeah, that's right. Jason Leffler has fresher tires as well. Remember, they came down on lap 179, restarted 22nd. A few laps ago, Jason Leffler came over the radio, told his crew chief, I'm just going to drive it to the front. He was 12 at that point. He's currently 6th, guys.
That's the great point, Shannon. You're right. It was lap 179, and Marcos came in at 166, so it gives you an idea. And McMurray is losing more positions as it looks like his grip is going away.
Well, one more spot. It could be team orders. That's it as a Roush car.
So right now, Carl Edwards smelling a championship, trying to nail it down. His next victim is Jason Keller.
The fastest car on the racetrack that last lap was a 22 car of Mike Bliss.
Landon Castle still not willing to ease off on the potential champion. Remember, that's for battle for position.
And I'd hate to be Landon Castle if it gets in the corner a little too deep and takes out the points leader right now. That's not good for your resume, guys. That makes me a little nervous.
But this is also going to teach him how to learn how to pass a guy without getting into him. You just don't want to punt the guy out of the way.
20 laps to go here at Memphis. It has turned into a marathon event, the longest Busch race ever. Back in 1997, 3 hours, 48 minutes, 25 seconds. That was a gateway.
23 caution laps, 23 caution flags for 112 laps, Marty. Incredible.
All right, let's reset it here. It's David Ruderman. Mike Bliss is now into 2nd as he managed to get around Scott Wimmer and bumps Wimmer back to 3rd. David Reagan is 4th. Jason Leffler is 5th. Marcus Ambrose rounds out your top 6. And we're finally starting to see a little spacing here.
That's right.
18 laps to go.
22 car, Mike Bliss was the fastest again.
And right now, Carl Edwards' car, he's back in 10th, guys. He just can't seem to gain any ground. In fact, he's about 3/10 of a second slower than the leader. And I can guarantee you, there's going to be another caution.
And it is Stephen Wallace that goes around in turn number 4, bringing out our 24th caution.
Get it fired up.
they're waiting for Steven to fire it up. This is our third time, as this is our 800th Busch Series race. Third time in 800 races. There have been 70 or more laps under caution, or 20 or more laps, or 20 or more cautions, I'm sorry.
And it's another case of a car just getting in the corner too deep. You see the 49 car of Brian Keselowski just locked the left front wheel up, couldn't get slowed down, and got in the back of Steven.
Take another look at it.
See his front brakes glowing red, brakes are on fire. Drivers are having a lot of problems with that.
We mentioned the 26 cautions back at Hickory in '92. There were 20 at South Boston in '91. And now this is number 2 on the list, 24. Here's from Mike Wallace's camera, and different perspective, same result.
Same, right, exactly right. That left front brake locks up. When you lock that left front brake up, you know, all you're going to do is slide into the guy in front of you. And there was a guy that wasn't racing for position, so that shouldn't have happened.
Was there a little confrontation there on the way to pit lane?
Well, I would say that Steven's pretty upset right now. His temper's getting to...
We are out of the race. We are out of the race. Go to the trailer. It's over. They pulled our scorecard. Straight, turn left.
Okay, so something has happened that NASCAR did not like, and they have told Steven to go to the trailer.
Well, there's rough driving going on right now. NASCAR's not going to tolerate it. They got mad at Steven for, you know, he got mad because he got spun out by the 49. And he's just upset right now. He's had a bad year, and he's hoping for a good race here, and it didn't happen. So frustration set in.
All right, let's go back and see if we can see what happens here. Now, this is after the incident has occurred, and Steven looks like he's tracking the 49 down.
But he sure run
the green, and the guy got wrecked, and all they did was give him a 2-lap.
Mark Steven on this one, so he'll be visiting the trailer as well. Helmet side of the car, and not a happy camper.
That's short track racing, guys. That's the way it is.
You said it. Lots of temper, lots of contact. And we've seen plenty of both today. All right, let's talk about David Rudiman, because he has led 177 laps. He's on the verge of winning here if he can go 14 more. Vince?
Jerry Baxter, the crew chief, what's the emotion of your driver right now? It seems like everyone's a little scattered at this point. A lot of restarts, a lot of yellows.
I think he's a little frustrated, just like the rest of us. You know, 25 restarts leading the damn race, you end up running out of a bag of tricks, you know. So he just got to be patient and hang in there and try and bring us a race home for these errands folks. You know, they've done a good job of helping us all year long, and they deserve it.
Let's see if they can finish the job.
24 cautions, and he's right. How many bags of tricks are there? I mean, how many different types of restarts can you lay on people when they're following you in second place?
Well, everybody's running out of patience, they're running out of rhythm, they're running out of time, they're frustrated, they've never seen anything like this, and even the crew chiefs, you can see that. David Rudiman doesn't have a win in the Busch Series yet, and it just might happen today, guys. 14 laps to go. See if he can get it done.
Green flag comes out. Third, 13 now to go, and there's Cale Gale again, as he is still 1 lap down. Second place is Mike Bliss with a great run going. Scott Wimmer is in third. David Reagan, Jason Leffler, that's your top 5. Right now, Mike Bliss wants Cale Gale to get the heck out of the way.
He's just like, leave me alone, let me get gone. Let's get this thing over, guys.
12 laps to go for David Rudiman, separating him from his first Busch Series win. We'll tell you that Carl Edwards is still stuck in 10th position. He has to get to 8th or better if he wants to clinch. Here comes David Reagan in the 6 car underneath Scott Wimmer. So give Reagan the position as he slides around, takes over the spot, move him to 3rd, Wimmer to 4th. And here comes Leffler looking underneath Wimmer. On board with Jason. Wimmer holds him off. This time by, it'll be 10 laps to go.
And right now, Edwards is still in the 10th position. Rudiman leading this thing. This continues. Edwards is not going to wrap up this title here at Memphis.
There is Carl, and there's a healthy gap between he and 9th place, Jason Keller.
The 22, I tell you, Mike Bliss is there. He's working the back bumper.
Oh, he's working outside the racetrack right now. He's not going to try no more in the bottom range. He's going to the top, trying to get it done.
Here we go. This time by 9 laps. And again, it is Bliss with the quicker car, but he just can't get enough ground as he's going around the long way.
Yeah, these are two quality drivers right now, Marty, going for the win right here. Bliss has been fast in his 22 car all year long, but it looks like Ruderman just pulled a little bit away from him. Alan, what's going on with Bliss down there?
Mike Bliss's team told him to try and keep as much heat in his tires as they could under that last caution. They also said your car is better time-wise on the long runs than the 99. Mike might have just taken his one best shot at passing David Ruderman, though, right there.
Yeah, I think you might be right, Alan. Long runs today have been about 8 laps. We've got 7 to go this time by, and the gap is widened a little bit at the stripe. In fact, it's almost a full half a second between first and second, between Ruderman and Mike Bliss. That's Cale Gale. Don't worry about him. He is a lap down. Although he's driving very well at this stage of the race, he's in 29th position.
He has the freshest tires out of everybody out there. That's for sure. That's what's keeping him up there.
And guys, bad news for Carl Edwards fans. He's dropped 2 positions. He's fallen back to 12th. So it looks like this championship is going to go at least one more race.
Well, Marty, I believe the guys at Texas Motor Speedway next week are thinking, gosh, don't win it here. We want to present Carl to check at Texas. So this is kind of a battle of the racetracks also.
Exactly right. Eddie Gossett is sitting there. He's already planning a victory celebration.
This time by, it'll be 5 laps to go, and you can see Carl has lost more ground. Meanwhile, Ruderman has opened up almost an 1/8 of a second lead.
I think when Mike jumped up on the outside of him there, it was a wake-up call, and he's like, okay, I'm just putting my mirror up. I'm going to drive the dickens out of this car for the last 10 laps.
He is definitely up on the wheel right now, down into turn 3, and look at this car. One of the few cars that literally doesn't have a scratch on it. I'm not trying to drink it, as we got 4 laps to go. Vince Welch?
Well, and as you see David Ruderman pulling away, and his car seems to be handling perfectly, it's time maybe to give a tip of the cap to Mark Green, who drove this car all day yesterday in practice, had it set up. Remember, David Ruderman didn't get in this car until today in qualifying. And I talked with Ruderman beforehand. Why does Mark Green always seem to have the magic touch with you? He says, well, we're about the same size. We like the same kind of race car, and I've never followed him into a car that hasn't been comfortable. Maybe he'll share a little bit of that winnings with him tonight.
Well, 62 times David Ruderman has climbed behind the wheel of a NASCAR Busch Series car. He has never been the first one to the stripe, seeing the checkered flag. This time by, 2 laps remaining, separating him from that first win.
And he is driving his brains out right now. Down the back straightaway into turn 3, Randy, a little while ago, brakes on fire, bottoming out. And we have got a spin.
Oh, and you hear the frustration in the voice. Caution out for the 25th time.
The 10 car of Brent Sherman went around. Didn't look like he hit anything. But just about the time, Randy, I thought we were going to get her done. We didn't get it done.
As many cautions as we had, I think that green, white, checkered, and fuel mileage is out the window. We got plenty of fuel. But, you know, we talked about Mark Green.
For me, Dave. It's going to be fine.
Here's an interesting stat for you guys. David Ruderman has led more laps today than he has in his 62 previous races. He's up to 190. He deserves this win. I think Mike Bliss might not want to agree with that.
That's just true.
And he's going to do everything he can. Let's take a look, see what happened, what brought out this 25th caution. 10 car Brent Sherman goes around. Can't tell from there if he got help.
Back bumper was clean.
How can you tell?
You know, with what we've seen today, guys, it's pretty hard to blame anybody. I mean, everybody's just getting into everybody. And bad day here at Memphis. Exciting, a lot of crashes, but unpredictable and unbelievable.
Mark Green, Mark Green has done a great job with these guys, and this is the first time David's going to win a race. Last year, I drove the 21 car for 6 races, practiced it. Kevin only won 4 of them, run second in 1, was going for the lead lap, and got wrecked on the green, white checker.
Okay, remember, we're going to have a single file start because we're under the 10-lap rule.
Correct.
Also, I want to talk about looking out that rear view mirror on the restart.
Don't need to.
Well, yeah, you want to make sure, Randy, that he's not going to get on the inside of you, but looking out the rearview mirror, just get a good restart, right?
That's right.
Come through the gears.
That's right. Don't miss a shift.
But, Randy, with 26 cautions, the weakest thing in these cars right now have got to be the transmissions.
Oh, you're right. Exactly right.
The transmissions have went through pure murder out here today. I mean, These transmission guys are going to check these things and say, talk about a test. Look at this.
Been more transmissions been used more than they were at the road course.
Guys, we're going to go have our 4th green-white checker of the season here in the NASCAR Busch Series. Lights are out on the pace car. Set it for you. It's Rudiman, Bliss, Reagan, Leffler, Ambrose. But the key will be the 2 cars up front. If Bliss has anything for Rudiman, he has been stellar on the restarts. We're coming out of green. And he does it again. Great start down into 1. Bliss trying all he can to reel him back in. Reagan's got pressure from behind from Leffler.
See Jason Leffler on the bumper. The 6 car got him sideways, got him to heat. That let him get on the outside like he's doing now off of turn 4. 2 laps to go.
And this time the white flag. 1 lap remaining here at Memphis. What started out as a 250-lap affair has turned into a day-long marathon. And we've got a spin of Landon Castle. They'll go to the finish. This one will end as here he comes to the checkered flag.
You got it, D-Root. You're the man, baby.
David Rudiman winning for the first time.
Did Carl make up any spots in that?
Carl was caught in his spin. He spun too, was avoiding the wreck.
Stop that, boys.
Guys, I'm not for sure if he spun or not, but he was involved in that altercation too. Carl was with Landon Castle. So
it looks unofficially that Carl had dropped all the way to 25th position.
Thank you, guys. Good job.
So for David Rudiman, it may have taken an awfully long time, but he wins his first career Busch Series event here at Memphis.
And they'll remember this one for a long time, guys. 25 caution layup laps, 25 caution flags for 117 laps.
Yeah, almost half the race.
Second win for Toyota.
Our Crown Royal crowning moment here at Memphis Motorsports Park. Take a look as there is the celebration for David Rudiman, the 15th different winner in 2007. That's going to do it for us, for Marty Reed and all of us here at ESPN2. We're sending you on to football. So long.